Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Richard Lewis Show. I'm Richard Lewis. The guy that you haven't heard yet is Sam Davis. He's there. Sam. Jaguan. That's a new one. Yeah, Jaguan.
What's going on?
God, doing intros is fucking tiresome, dude. Like, for real. Like, I don't know how people say the same shit over and over again. Like, when you're doing it often, you know?
Yeah.
I wish
people come up with the catchphrase, I think, because at least if it's cheesy bullshit, at least it isn't like you have to come up with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of do it the same way every show, but I introduce all my YouTube videos the same now as well. It makes it more boring for me. It's like the formalities, because, you know, obviously every time you do it, it might be someone new, so you got to like...
I like the way Joe Rogan does it. All his podcasts just start mid-conversation, and then he goes, "Are we like?"
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be the way to go it. Or get a little thing that just goes, "Hello, freak bitches," and just do it that way. Like maybe freak bitches. We can chief that from Joe Rogan. Oh, hey, I didn't even turn the lights on. Should I can put my
that production value.
Yeah, okay. Wait there.
The other one was Ed starts bouncing.
Got to get up now. Fuck.
Oh, he's almost lost his legs.
Yeah, I nearly kicked my fucking jack over. All right. There you go. Right, let's do a fucking show.
Lights, y'all.
Yeah, let's do a show. Right, okay. You can tell me if the lights are too bright. I'll turn them down. So I believe usually what you do is, Sam, don't you get a bunch of pictures of people who bought merchandise?
Indeed, I do.
Isn't that what usually happens?
Yeah. So the first guy is Anthony Betancourt. Was
right.
a Din Artem shirt.
Nice.
Guy. Big thumbs up from Anthony, mate. He's landed with that one.
Mate, there's an absolute belting picture we got this week.
Is it?
Yeah, you'll see.
Next guy is Jack von Lammonby, who sent a video of him drinking out of his mug.
Nice. He's having a mug.
And a Din Artem shirt. Didn't even notice that the first time around.
Didn't even notice that. Yeah, I see. Nice.
From Australia. Cheers, bud.
Sub all over his face.
Yeah, I played it twice. I made sure.
Yeah, good. Don't want a sub on your face.
Zybox with a Din Artem hold it up saying someone has purchased a t-shirt, like our little alert box says.
Nice.
James Reed got a Din Artem shirt. Oh, this one. Yeah, I knew which one you're on about. Okay.
Yeah, this is the bag.
With the big down in some vodka, a balaclava. He's got the CS shirt, actually, which hardly anyone gets, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly, but look at that. You've missed the most obvious.
Yeah, I know, I was leaving it for last, and then the big man bong out in the background.
Got a big man bong, just having a lurk in the background. That is the audience I crave.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically how I look while I'm doing the show.
Yeah, you know, again, what you guys can't hear is he'll occasionally mute himself, and I'll just hear like... And it's not him attempting to lick his own genitals this time. It's a bong it. But there you go. That's the kind of person I want watching my show. If you're 12, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like this is the audience I've been trying to build up my entire life, and then eventually, what's going to happen is it's not going to be an audience. It's going to be an army for the great coming war. Right? We'll tell you about that later, subs. All right? Special meeting tonight at the docks.
In the barn.
Yeah, you know the docks. I'll see you down there. So you know, were there any others?
Yeah, did one we just more, and that's Madsen with 2 mugs and a watch with your face on it somehow. I don't know how that's a thing. I don't know if it's like a watch you can put any picture on or something, and he just chose the thinking emoji. I think so, because you can see the PNG background.
We should sue him. And then start making it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you?
That's pretty fucking good, mate. That's good. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, like, I'm definitely. I really appreciate it. Definitely going to sue you. Definitely going to get that.
We will be in touch.
Our lawyers will be in touch right now.
Our legal team also has a cock and balls as a logo.
Yeah, exactly. But it is actually just an outline of Sam's cock and balls.
Yeah, it's actually. I just put ink all over my knob and just slapped it on the paper. Boy.
You go. So yeah, no, that's fucking hilarious, dude. So thanks for all the support. Happy 24th as well. Glad to be part of that in some small capacity. So yeah, there you have it. So all sorts going on. Thanks for all the merch. We got our first check-in. Sam's had some money. He's spent it on, what's it called again? Marijuana? Is that...
I believe they call it the devil's lettuce.
Right. Yeah, okay, cool. That's good.
It's a bin bag full.
When you said you'd been out buying lettuce, I thought you meant, you'd actually been
getting... I changed my life. Grow up.
I thought you meant salad.
Grow up.
Yeah, didn't think so. So look, we like to ease into the show, which today, I want to say it's going to be a banger. We've got some real good stuff lined up. Stuff that you will not believe. I feel like Rutger Hauer at the end of fucking Blade Runner. Yeah. I've seen things you wouldn't believe. Oh, what, like cool shit and that? Nah, people just being mentally ill on the internet. So I'm kind of like Rutger Hauer, just the shit version. Like, well, you only had a short amount of life to live and you didn't get to see all of the cool stuff. Nah, I just spent it looking at the internet and being angry. So anyway, didn't happen. We're all about didn't happen, as I'm sure you all know. Didn't happen. And a lot of people miss the point of what didn't happen's about, by the way. So I just want to reiterate it. Didn't happen. Okay, why did we do didn't happen? Well, look, we've become a sick species. We are psychotic. We've been driven insane by this sort of rotational message, this system, this cyclical system of media, the media being beamed into your brain and then being able to feed back immediately what we think about what has immediately entered our brain with no filter through the internet and specifically social media, which gives us the illusion of relevance. It gives us the illusion of connectivity without actually delivering upon any of that. And then the media seizes upon our reactions and feeds it back to us, meaning we're more likely to do that the second time. Now, one of the ways this manifests itself is through lies, because the vetting process for vetting lies and bullshit in the mainstream media is just not there anymore. I saw a fucking journalist retweet a claim, an unverified claim, right, about John McCain. Now, John McCain, I don't like John McCain, but I don't want anyone to die of brain tumors. I'm just going to put that out there right off the top. Like, it's fucked up. It's a fucked up way to die. If you've ever seen anyone with a brain tumor, if you've ever seen anyone with cancer, kind of like just wither away before your eyes, and in particular, with brain cancer, depending on what part of the brain it affects, they can become forgetful, really frightened. They have moments of lucidity and moments where they don't even know what's happening to them. I've been around people that have died in that way. It's not a good way to go. So I even though I don't like John McCain, I don't like his politics, I wouldn't wish that upon him like some liberals did. That's fine. But here's something that blew my fucking mind. Immediately after it was announced that John McCain had this cancer in his brain, it's like people have just forgotten what like tact and decency is. All right, it's not the time to go, oh, I wonder what his stance on healthcare is. Oh, that wants to take healthcare away from people, does he? How ironic. How ironic that he's now going to die horribly. Do you know what I mean? Like, have a bit of fucking... Just leave it a day, leave it a week, Try and pace yourselves. But I saw this journalist, and I'll just give this to you. This is kind of going off on a tangent, but that's what kind of makes the show the show. Basically, what happened here is... are the Twitch alerts muting me, are they?
Yeah, okay. Mute the Twitch alerts.
All right, I'll get rid of those. Away you go, Twitch alerts. Sorry, I've got them on from last night still. So basically, anyway, right? Like, so what happens here is shortly after that happens, a tweet starts circulating from somebody who supposedly got told that by John McCain that to get better healthcare they simply had to move, right? And this is it. You can see here. This is the tweet in question. It's now deleted, of course. This is from a journalist. All right. This is from a journalist Okay, my friend's husband died of glioblastoma and AZ. They wrote a letter to McCain begging for his help. He advised them to move. And then he said, I deleted an earlier tweet because it did not meet my employee standards for verification and publication. It was just hearsay, right? And here's the problem with it. The hearsay got 10,000, almost 11,000 retweets. Then you look at the acknowledgement that it wasn't verified and it wasn't fit for publication. One retweet and 14 likes. Do you see what I mean? So, like, this is why it didn't happen is important, because ultimately, yes, we treat it like it's a joke. We treat it like it's a joke, but you must always have a critical mind when you hear a line of bullshit, when you hear a story. You've got to have a critical mind. Journalists should have this. They don't. They don't anymore. They don't care. If a story fits a narrative, they don't want to check it because they don't want it to be false. So this is why we didn't happen. A lot of people go, have you seen? I saw some comments on Reddit because I do read Reddit mainly for my own amusement. And I saw a comment just recently going, have you seen what the Richard Lewis show has devolved into? Have you seen the didn't happen section? It's just Richard Lewis getting baited over and over again. It's like, none of these things are for me. I find these things on the internet. People are just lying all the fucking time, and lies get spread because the media don't verify that they're lies. And then more people go, oh, look, I can get attention by telling a bunch of fucking outrageous lies. May as well do that then, eh? Better that than actually lead a fulfilling, worthwhile life and contribute something to the human race. I can just pretend I did. It won't matter until I'm, withered and crippled in my own deathbed, right? With my life flashing before my eyes. And, oh, wait, that was a lie, that was a lie, that was a lie. Oh, yeah, all those memories lies. Right, okay, brilliant. Well done. You had one go around and you spent it lying. Well done. Congratulations. You fucked up. All right. It's over for you now. Okay. You die. You spent it lying. Okay. Anyway, so that's why we didn't happen. So yes, we laugh at some shit like this, and it's funny, but the broader context of what didn't happen must always be there in the back of your mind while we laugh at some retards. You see. That's the thing. That's the key thing. So here's it didn't happen. Pulled this off the internet. Classic banter. Who makes shit like this up, Sam? This is ridiculous, right? This morning, I woke up with these numbers playing inside my head. Have you ever had that, Sam? You ever just woke up?
No, I think that's called psychosis, mate. I did, but I think I was on some sort of research chemical they were pumping in via IV.
Never had that, right? Never had that, mate. Never had that. Never just woke up with just numbers in my head,
What a way to start that is.
Like, I just never had that. Like,
what are the numbers, Mason? What are the numbers?
Right. It was so weird for me, but I just went along with it. I mean, again,
my mind's going to mush. I guess I'll just go to work.
I woke up with voices in my brain I couldn't dismiss, but I thought, fuck it, I'll just go along with it. No, go to a hospital is what you should be doing. At a convenient store, I think it's going to be a convenient. How convenient.
I was waiting for you, Bond. How convenient.
I expect you to die. I felt like the person in front of me needed to hear those numbers. So now you've got Tourette's. Now you've got Tourette's. You've got voices in your head and like, oh, this person has to hear what I've got in my head. Boom! Brilliant. You're awesome. Anyway, I felt like the person in front of me needed to hear those numbers. So I was like, hey. Lady said, hi. Me, does the numbers mean anything to you? Lady, her eyes wide open. Oh, my God. Later, I found out, doesn't say how, it was her ATM PIN code that she had forgotten. Oh, okay, lol. Hashtag thank you, God.
God is good all of the time.
Right, there's just so much going on here. Like, how did you find out that later it was her ATM PIN? Because the last thing I would do, if someone came up to me, like Darren Brown, the mind bender himself, came up to me and when I'm going to say, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last thing I'm going to go is, that's my PIN number, mate.
Do you want to bug me now, like?
Yeah. Do you want to just fucking cut my throat and just leave me dead by the side of the road while you spend all my money? You know what I mean? The answer to that is obviously yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. Cheers for making it.
Cheers, mate. Peace.
how did you find out it was her ATM pin code? And then, like, what? She'd forgotten it. So, I mean, it can't have been mega urgent or anything, because, like, if you forget your pin code,
just go to the bank and go, forgot.
Yeah.
I'm just mentally ill as well, and I've just forgot the numbers that I've known my entire life somehow.
And she's in a convenience store. I mean, presumably is she using cash she already had, or is she just going to pay with the card? But you still need PIN numbers. I mean, you don't always, but you mostly do. The signature thing, it's PIN and chip and PIN now. So this story's a mess, is what I'm trying to say. And then, why is God involved? Like,
Thank you,
okay,
God.
I want us to think about this, right? I watched a documentary about Africa recently, and how Africa, and it was lots of different countries. It was like basically a modern history of Africa, and it talked about countries like Liberia and things that happened in South Africa. All these issues that had happened. The crisis in Ethiopia and all of this. And over the course of that video, I saw some pretty horrible things. I saw children with distended bellies from being chronically malnourished die of thirst, too weak to swat the hundreds of flies from their face, right? And God didn't intervene at any point. God didn't think, you know what, that's a bit much, innit? That's a bit of a dark image for a comedy show, Richard. He didn't say that, did he? He didn't intervene. He just watched that little child basically have all the life it's going to get and die horribly. But meanwhile, okay, some lady has forgotten her ATM PIN code, and God is like, oh my me!
You can't buy avocados with your chip and PIN.
How can we fix this problem? How can we fix this problem? I will beam the numbers direct into a total stranger's brain while they sleep.
Not even your brain, just a random stranger.
But it's just gone directly to the woman themselves, like himself. He is God. He's omnipotent, by the way. Can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants, and doesn't afraid of anything. Memes. But no, he chose a conduit. This lady believes God chose. What's God got to say about you just straight lying on the internet, by the way?
Hell.
Yeah, like
eternal pineapples.
Yeah.
Little Nicky style.
Yeah, good old God, eh? Feeling it. Still, next time I'm shitting myself on a plane, I will have a bit of a prayer, like, but
just I never go to pray United.
Not a prayer, but just come on.
Jesus, if you're real.
Yeah, I'm edging my bets because I'm scared. I'll be doing that, like. All right, so we got some other examples of the systemic mental illness. Coffee shops are popular, right? Coffee shops are always popular for mental illness, aren't they? Because
just for hipsters, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of the people who tell these lies are kind of white, middle to upper class, progressive, liberal types who they haven't lived a life, which is why they hold the belief system that they hold, And if you look at, a lot of these, they're always set in coffee shops. Here's one. I am a customer waiting in line at a coffee shop. Server, good morning, sir. What can I get you? Never been called sir in a coffee shop. Like ever, by the way. And I'm not saying I go to them often. I go to them enough to know that it just hasn't happened. But anyway, whatever. Guy ahead of me, very gruffly, I don't know. I hate all these choices. Right?
That's definitely things people say.
He just hates choice. No one ever, by the way. Said no one ever. Who hates choice? Can you imagine going into a coffee shop and there was just no choice?
I just can't make up my mind and it's your fault.
Go into Subway. Yeah, I'll get a foot-long Italian BMT, please, with no tomatoes. We haven't got that, mate. It's turkey or fuck all. Well, that sounds right. I'm out. Subway would collapse. People like choice. Choice is good. Anyway, I don't know. I hate all these choices. Just give me a plain brewed coffee. Black. And don't put any of that sissy stuff in it. Coffee's turning our men gay, Sam.
Turn the frogs gay. Turn our men gay. They're reducing our IQ.
I don't like the cut of his jib at all. I'm going to hit him with the sissy juice. Fucking hell. I don't want flavours or whipped cream or any of that crap. Server, a little taken aback, but polite. Okay, sir. You see, the reason they're doing the sir lie is to create a juxtaposition of respect and disrespect. It makes the fictitious character who's angry about coffee for no reason, makes him seem even more egregious, makes him seem even more of a cunt, you see. I'm a writer. I know these things. I know these techniques. You can't fool me. It's like Penn and Teller. Unless you're that Asian card guy who fooled him twice. One time after he had his fingers chopped off or something. Mental. Anyway. Me. I'd like a double tall non-fat latte. And because I'm secure in my masculinity, I would scream. Brackets, she gave me a discount. Fuck off, mate.
No, she gave you a coffee. That's all you had.
Straight fuck off. Here's what you did, right? Here's what really happened. You saw a guy in a coffee shop you didn't like the look of. You made up a little fantasy in your brain about what you would do if you were a man. And then you went home and, I don't know.
Wrote it down on the internet.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to finish that thought. It was going to get... It was going to get dark. It was going to get bad. I've stopped myself, Sam. I'm learning to be restrained. Too hot for streaming, you know. Right, okay. So here's another didn't happen. This one is kind of a little bit ridiculous because this is completely unbelievable. Again, I believe this one pertains to a coffee shop. Again, go figure, right? So yeah, this is ridiculous for many reasons. This is when you feel the need to lie and make your life sound amazing, but you have no idea what real life looks like. I remember there's a great episode of The Twilight Zone. I think it's Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, it's called. One of the first ever episodes I saw as a kid. And basically, I'm going to ruin it for you now, guys, but I'm going to assume you're not watching sci-fi series from 1959, are you, kids? You're not doing that anymore, are you? You should. It'll enrich your life if you do it, but you're not going to do it, are you? So it's all right. So I'm going to spoil that episode for you now. Basically, what happens is, right, there's a bus crash on a bridge, and one of the survivors comes to a nearby cafe, and people are trying to figure out what happened and why it all happened. And anyway, more people start turning up, and then it turns out for some reason it was done by aliens. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess in 1959, you know, an alien attacking a bus was a big deal. You know, you fast forward with the blowing up the White House, but back then, that's pretty intense, right? Anyway, over the course of all of this suspicion being raised, the guy gets caught out after one by one people start disappearing, aliens. He gets caught out because they said to him, when you came in, you said the bus went off a bridge and went into the river, but you weren't wet. And he goes, wet? What's wet? He doesn't understand what wet is, does he? Because and then there's a mad double twist at the end where it turns out the guy running the cafeteria is actually from Venus, and he pulls off a hat. It's got an eye in it. It's like full Futurama, scary door nonsense, right? But this is like the point that I'm trying to make here is this guy's like that Martian. He doesn't know what real life looks like. He's never gone out his house. Because look at this. I was in a coffee shop today, set up shop, pulled out my computer, sipping tea, getting it done. Some guy posts up on the couch opposite, tea and the like. I mean, like, he's telling the story like he's fucking some kind of mad hipster.
Like they drinking pints in the bar. So there I was in a coffee shop.
It's not train spotting, mate. Relax. 20 minutes later, hey, you're going to be here a while? I'm going to run to the bathroom. Can you watch my stuff? Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. When the bathroom door shuts, I put his Mac in the corner under his jacket, turn the table upside down, grab empty cups from the bus tub and spread them, set ours out of sight. I put fake blood on my face that I keep on because that's how I do. And I lay on the ground, beaten senseless. He comes out of the bathroom. What the hell just happened? I point to the corner with his laptop, talking with a death rattle. Don't worry, your stuff is safe. and then I died. Right, okay. Guys, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tip here so you don't sound like a Martian who has just landed on planet Earth. If you start turning over tables in a coffee shop,
you're going to be restrained.
The police are going to come. The police are coming. You understand? That still is
the police are coming.
The police are going to come. Right? Why are you carrying fake blood? Who does that?
That's just how I do, mate.
That's got to be a key component of your story. If you're going to tell a lie, just add a line. I had just come back from my amateur dramatics club, or as a lot of you know, I have been starring in a play, and as a result, I had some vials of fake blood. Or my part-time job is I work as a special effects artist for a lot. Make something up. It's all a lie, but explain the fake blood for fuck's sake. You don't just say I keep fake blood on me at all times because that's how I do. No one does that.
You never know.
That's not how anyone does. That's not... Even a Martian would be like, you're fucking mental, you are, mate. And I've got 3 arms.
I don't know what mental is, but you are mental.
Exactly. What is mental illness? It's you, isn't it? Yep, you got it right, Martian. Yeah, you absolutely are. And then just the whole... right... That guy, assume this is real. Just imagine the scene. So you've hid my stuff. You've turned the table upside down. You've made a mess. And you're pretending to die in front of me. This isn't funny.
Just be reasonable.
Just calm the fuck down. I've got shit to do. What have you done with my stuff, you mad cunt? I'd call the police.
He's flipping tables, mate. I don't know what you want me to do with him.
I go, oh, can I just get my phone off you, mate? Police. That's it. Like, and just there's some mad cunt spraying fake blood everywhere in Starbucks. Like he's got to go.
Can you whip someone round because he needs to be taken care of?
He's got to go. What the fuck is that? All right, so there's 2 more didn't happen, so then we'll do the show for real. This is a didn't happen where somebody just doesn't. Again, they just don't realize what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable. There's a hint of this. Maybe they're trying to appear like they're a badass, right? Maybe. But I don't know. I think maybe they've just misjudged what's acceptable in society. You're going to like this one, Sam, because obviously coming from Port Talbot, you'll hear people actually say shit like this. Right, so this is off a thing called How I Got Suspended. And people submit, stories about how they got suspended, right? So the previous school year, 8th grade, I got suspended for having a can of dip in my book bag. Okay, so dip's like chewing tobacco.
Chewing tobacco, yeah.
So far, so good. Makes sense. Earlier that day on the bus ride to school, I was dipping on the bus and put on Snapchat. Dipping on the bus is safe, kids. And these 2 kids I don't like saw the dip can and tried to tell the teacher. But she didn't believe them because they were pretty bad kids and I'm generally a good kid. Generally a good kid. Keep this in mind, Sam. So with 20 minutes left of school, they go and tell principal. But the funny thing is, the kid who actually talked to the principal, I had stabbed...
What do you mean?
Right. He explains it in the brackets, Sam. He tried to take my paper, and I just started stabbing him.
What the fuck?
Right? But I got a detention for it, and I felt really bad for stabbing him. And now that I look back, I'm just like, that fucking prick deserved it. But anyway, I got a 3-day OSS and played Xbox all day.
So,
right, hang on, right? Sam.
I started stabbing him, mate. I just started stabbing him.
But the funny thing is... where's this going to go? What hilarity is about to ensue? But the funny thing is, the kid who actually talked to the principal had stabbed him the week before. But I'm generally a good kid. But I'm just straight stabbing people.
Started stabbing him?
It must have been a street fight or something. Nah, he tried to take my paper. What?
Reasonable.
It's paper. You don't stab people for paper. That's mental, Sam. That's just a mad lie. That's like, what? You've got to be psychotic to make that up and think this is going to fly. Funny thing, guys. I mad stabbed this cunt. What? Why did you mad stab a cunt in the past?
Why did you mad stab a cunt in the past?
What's done that for in the past? That's mad.
Milky, why have you done this?
The week before, like, it's too much, mate. Just the funny thing is, last week I was just straight stabbing people. What action happened? Did you go to prison for stabbing someone? Detention, mate. Oh, slipping standards haven't gone now.
Oh, I tried to take. Well, you did try to take his paper. To be fair, both of you detention. You're both at fault.
Both of you are getting detention now.
Shake hands.
Yeah, shake hands. Oh, wait, he's chopped yours off. So
shake finger.
Yeah. It's too much, isn't it, mate?
Shake hands.
Shake hands. Hang on, I'm gonna turn the brightness up a little bit because it's gonna take the redness off my head. Right,
D-red.
Yeah, I need a D-red, mate. Got red on you. Okay, right. So, let's do the final. Didn't happen. Celebrity didn't happen. This one, mate. Do you know who Laura Loomer is? Right?
No idea.
Didn't think you'd have an idea. Laura Loomer is, she's been a journalist before, but she's actually been involved in The Rebel, right? And Project Veritas. And this is interesting. It's an interesting departure for me because this isn't someone you would call a loony liberal. Right, this is meant to be one of the people like me and you, because we're alt-righters. You know what I mean, right? Secret Nazis. Right, you know what I mean? Like we're meant to fucking be on their side, like no matter what, right? But like obviously, if you're just being a retard, you're being a retard. So I've got to say, this is mad levels of retardation from Laura Loomer. It's a fucking disgrace, right? She tweeted out, "Someone has just slashed my tire. I'm speechless. 1 week after someone doxed me." Now, look. People get doxed and harassed and stalked. It barely happens, by the way. I mean, like, all these people go, "I've been doxed." What really happened? Someone said my real name. Right? Not a dox, is it? You've got it on your Twitter account. Somebody said I live in this continent. Right, okay, right. We've got to really start deciding what doxing actually means because it's all over the place as definition. But anyway, she said, "Someone just slashed my tire." Let's have a look at these tires, Sam. Let's have a zoom, right? Enhance. Let's go in. Look at that manky tire, Sam.
It is fully bred.
Mate, this is manky, right? And the thing she's claiming is the slash. You can see it on the left of the first image.
Yeah.
Mate, I wouldn't set these tires on fire. Like, they're fucking... You know what I mean? These aren't fit for the tire fire. You've got to just throw them in the sea. Kill some dolphins or something. I don't know.
Send them to the turtles.
Yeah. How the fuck you get rid of these cunts? You can't set them on fire. They don't even look safe enough for that. And then you have a look at the next picture with the supposed slash in it, right? And it's all flat and bust up. Okay. So everyone says from the look of that tire, they probably did you a favor. And she's saying it clearly has a slash mark in it. So she zooms in again. And you can see here there's like some more, marks on the tire. Right? And she says, "All of my tires were fine before. I had my car inspected during my last oil change. And they said my tires were fine." No, right. First of all, any mechanic that I know, they'll rob you blind wherever they can. They'll rob you fucking blind wherever they can. And it's all
I've just had them.
And it's all in the game now, Sean. This has been if you don't learn about cars to a point where you're gonna get wrecked, you know what I mean? They'll wreck you. It's just life. I'm not saying it's right. It's wrong to exploit the stupid, like it's wrong to exploit the smart. Exploitation is wrong, but that's just how it's gonna go down. If you go into a fucking mechanics and you don't know a difference between a fucking oil change and a tire change, they're going to have your fucking eyes out. That's life, all right? I do not know a single mechanic in the world that'll tell you your tires are fine, even if they're brand new. They'll kick him. Right? And those pieces of dog shit, you don't need to know anything about cars to know they're not fucking roadworthy. What are you doing? Now, here's the thing. Anybody who knows anything about tyres knows what Brian Crouch has put out there. Now, on a fresh tyre, you'll see close to the rim, you'll see serial numbers, like pressure values. You see, like, some print, company that makes it. And it's got, like, the week it was made in the year it was made. Her tyre is from 2006. 2006, Sam. We're halfway through 2017. What's she doing? You can't do that. Right? And then someone even put another picture up, right, of this is what it looks like. When tyres just rot away and randomly blow out, this is what it looks like. You get cuts in them, you get slashes. They split. It's not like a big fucking hole with, like, jagged things pointing out. It doesn't work like that. It's not. That's what it looks exactly like what she's saying. You wouldn't even need to slash those tyres. I could fucking run my fucking toenail across them and split the cunt in half. You know what I mean? They're so soft and rotten.
Slash my teeth.
What's she doing? Like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, that is massive. Didn't happen. Nobody slashed those tyres.
If you dry rot.
If you came round, right? If I was going round with the intention of slashing her tyres, I'd take one look at that. I'll buy you a new one. Mad pity.
Put a safety pin under it.
That's so mental. So, yeah, exactly. Been driving around in them all that time. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm just going to go out for a nice drive in the rain. They're fucking bolder than me. You know what I mean? Holy fucking shit. So there you go. It didn't happen. All right, let's get into some shit now. Okay, where are we going to go? I'll start with a funny one. I mean, I shouldn't laugh at this, but I don't know if you've been to India, Sam.
Nah.
Certain parts of India, right, have got problems.
Frozen.
Of course it has.
You got problems.
I said the key trigger word, mate. India.
Problems. All right.
I said India. Be right, shut it down. This might be dangerous. No, anyway, I'm just saying some parts of India do have some problems in regards to disparity of wealth. Some people live in some poverty that will break your fucking heart. And everybody I know who's ever been out to India and seen the grinding poverty that some people live in, they say they get a fresh perspective on what poverty is. And it actually makes them a little bit harder, like when you see homeless people over here. Because you think, fucking hell, sleeping on the streets in London is better than, sleeping in the streets of fucking Mumbai by a million miles. And then you learn about people who, because begging is considered a way of life, they deliberately deform their kids because that's all they're ever going to have. That's all they're ever going to be able to do. And deformities will fetch you a higher price. So India's got problems. And it's always the countries where the disparity of wealth is bigger, where you have that unbelievable grinding poverty of the underclass. And this is why you don't see that in Scandic countries, for example, where, it's like illegal for CEOs to make huge amounts of money. I don't want to sound all socialist, all right? Don't want to sound like I'm a socialist because I'm not. But disparity of wealth is pretty appalling when you look at the poorest. And I don't even think anybody, like free market capitalists like Ben Shapiro, could even argue for like things that are like going on in India. You know what I mean? So anyway, whatever. Maybe he would. I don't know. Can't speak for Ben. But one thing I will say about India, right? Some parts of it are smelly because they don't have sewerage systems. And
Rexamin.
And there is Rexamin going on. You will see people have just dumps in the streets and that, in certain areas. And it's not frowned upon. You can Google this. They actually have streets where there's no access to public toilets. They have entire streets where you just shit in that street.
Just shit. Old shit street, like.
Yeah. Where are you going? Shit Street. Where I just bought a house over there. Is it nice? That's where we all shit, mate. Fuck. Thought it was a figure.
It cost me £3. I'll make a mad return on that mud hut, mate. Trust me.
It's like that fucking Brent joke off The Office. Bomb went off in Swindon. £3 worth of damage. Anyway. So it's right. So this story just, I don't know, it just tickled my fucking particular funny button. I probably shouldn't laugh because the reason the joke works is because of grinding awful poverty. But whatever. But right, there was these stink bombs, right? These bombs. You see, right? Okay, I'll let me tell you about how the circle of life worked on this particular story. Israel were getting called out for human rights violations on how they treated Palestinian people, and their supposed non-lethal methods were pretty fucking lethal, it turned out, in some cases. So the world was saying, look, Israel, you got to stop with that shit, right? Just tone it down a bit. So they invented these bombs. Now, these stink bombs, basically, it was like being sprayed with raw sewage. And the smell is so overpowering, it just drops you to your knees, vomiting. Like, oh, fuck, please, no. And here's the thing. Human rights groups were so concerned even about this because they smelled so bad and the smell stuck to you for weeks after. So you could just be a protester, get caught up in it, and get sprayed with this shit. And you just got to wander around.
Water cannon.
Fucking hell, who's farted? No, I was just at a protest. You know what I mean? Now, also, interesting aside, there was a huge controversy, and I think I was still writing about politics when this happened before I moved over to Turner. You remember the Ferguson riots? Well, the Ferguson Police Department were actually, according to some internal sources, in talks with the Israeli government to get some of these stink bombs to use next time there was a race protest, which, by the way, would have been a bad idea. It might have escalated things just a little bit. I'm all for hitting them with the grow-up gas, but I don't think you want to make someone stink for 3 weeks. It might be a bit fucking insensitive, all things considered, because once the riot ends, they've still got to go back to like a regular life.
Those water cannons will fuck a life up as well, man. Yeah. Have you seen when those in a riot? That'll just grow you the fuck up real quick, mate. Nice little concrete wall of water in your face.
So basically, a lot of people were up in arms, and they were contacting Ferguson Police Department. This surely isn't true. You're not buying weapons from Israel. It's not quite what they're doing, but that was how it was being framed by some progressive outlets. And I was still writing about politics at the time, so I was on that story. And then I think I took the Turner job and never went anywhere with it. So I just happened to know about that as an aside. But the point being, these things fucking stink to high heaven, so much so human rights activists are saying they stink too much. It's too much stink, even though it's a non-lethal method. There's that's unacceptable. Anyway, these smelly bombs got imported to India, and apparently this is so ridiculous. Apparently they don't stink enough for India.
Come on. Oh, come on.
Burgers. It's too much, mate. They don't work. This is according to the Huffington Post, right? So anyway, just look at it, right?
The byline, mate. The bomb smell of decomposed bodies and sewerage.
That's what it smells like, decomposed bodies and raw sewerage. So just imagine that, right? And it takes days to fade after multiple showers, just like I said. And it's meant to be a effective weapon. It's been around for a while, and now the Israelis are using it on Palestinians as a matter of course. And the reason they wanted to use this bomb, which the brand name is called Skunk, don't get that mixed up when you go to a drug dealer, whatever you do. Want to buy some skunk, mate?
Fucking hell.
Not that type, mate. The type that fucks me up, fam. Right. So look at this, right? This is what a ministry official in India said. We have used chili grenades plastic shell tear smoke, stun grenades, colour smoke grenades, rubber bullets, dye marker grenades with skin irritant, and multi-tier tear gas launchers, but that did not yield the desired results. So we decided we wanted to try the skunk bomb. But here's the thing. They went out to a captive crowd in Delhi, right, which had their own personnel in and the general public to test these bombs out, see how effective they would be. So they launched a bunch of skunk bombs into the middle of a crowd. No one gave a fuck.
What the fuck?
No one cared, mate. And like, look at this. Maybe Indians have a higher threshold of tolerating stench, said a crestfallen official.
Fucking hell.
Mental, innit, mate? Can you imagine that? Like,
it's the smelliest thing known to man.
It's so ridiculous. So I had a little chuckle about that one of myself. Like, oh wait, this isn't problematic, is it? Nah, one of them. You know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous. I can't even believe it. Like,
are we on shit street again?
Skunk grenades coming in, right? Oh, fucking hell. It's all right, that is.
I'm fucking raw today, mate.
Gonna get that for my wife as a fucking perfume. It's so ridiculous. But no, the point is, India's so grotesquely polluted and fucked up. There are some areas where it just doesn't. I mean, do you know what I mean? Honestly, it just doesn't surprise me. You got smog belching out into the environment. You got fucking cars that just pump out all sorts of shit, running off illegal fuels that have just been made in a bathtub somewhere. You know, you combine that with like open landfills of rotten food, and then shit street. All of a sudden, you know what I mean? Maybe they should bottle that and sell that to the Israelis. Putting India into a new economic golden age. Just a thought.
Shit age.
Right. Here's another thing that's completely unreasonable. Right. This is according to CBS News. So, must be true. Right. So, you'll have to help me out a little bit with this, Sam, because I don't know who Kat Von D is. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I don't really know. Is she a tattoo artist? Makeup maven and reality star.
That's what I mean,
yeah,
right?
She makes makeup, I know that.
Yeah, so she makes makeup, and apparently she's a reality star. I don't watch reality TV because I think it's cancer of the soul. So, yeah, kind of a little bit to the right on that one. But I have no idea who she is. But anyway, there was a contest, Sam. A contest for makeup, I believe. Like doing makeup on people. And they had this contest, and it was national, and it was all across America. And a woman won, right? She was from Kansas, and she won the contest. And then Kat Von D apparently found out that she supported Trump, so they just took the win back.
Reasonable as fuck.
They just said the fact that you support Donald Trump isn't a good look, and we're rescinding the win as a result of that.
Sound. So,
Kat Von D apparently later messaged the person. This is allegedly, according to the person affected, a lady called Gypsy Freeman. And she had these screenshots, which, again, obviously with Inspect Element, they could be faked, but this is the evidence on which we're going on. Kat Von D said she had to draw a personal line in the sand between myself and anyone who supports that man. So they just took the win back from the competition. No problem. No comment has been issued by Kat Von D's beauty parent company. And that's that. So you can't even just win honest competitions anymore, can you? You can't just enter a competition anymore, Sam, and win it. You see what I see? People went, Richard, yeah, the show you did the other day, you went a bit mental there because you said that maybe in the future you might not be allowed to go to university based on who you voted for, and you might not be able to get a job based on who you voted for, and you know, that's a bit mentally ill. That sounds like Alex Jones. I don't like it when you do that. Well, you can't win contests. You know, we'll just, we've got a meritocracy over here. Congratulations on being the best. Random question. Who did you vote for in the last American election? Oh, Trump, was it? You have instantly been disqualified. Like, what the fuck is that? You know? I don't like it's absurd. This is how ridiculous it's getting. You'll all see. I don't want to be right, by the way, but I just am, unfortunately. Uh-oh.
What?
Sorry. My sound muted temporarily. I thought I was getting a click my balls in my ear. No, I wasn't. All right, let's talk about ISIS, Sam. And then we're going to take a break.
It's about time you asked.
Yeah. Well, look, right. So here's the thing. ISIS. We've talked a lot about it on the show. I've got a very staunch stance on ISIS. I don't think, I think the argument you make, which a lot of liberals and leftists do, and I believe Jeremy Corbyn, some of his cabinet have tried to make this argument, is that definitions shift depending on who is making the definition. And, you know, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, right? Is the old adage. That's what they say. So, okay. All right. You know, let's say that is true, that through the prism of perspective, certain definitions are warped. I'd still like to think civilized people can agree to a set of rules that we shouldn't do. And I think the murdering of innocent civilians to make a political point is one of those rules that I think any civilized human being should stick to. You know, the idea, you know, like, again, like if you want to make a point about American banks investing in fucking companies that destroy you and ravage your country and perpetrate all kinds of evil against your indigenous people, and you don't have the means to have an influential protest, maybe I can stretch to vandalism and destruction of property, provided nobody gets hurt and provided the target makes sense in a broader context. Maybe. It's a big maybe, all right? I'm not saying I can, but I'm saying I will listen to somebody trying to make an argument, and it maybe I can understand it. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. What I can never do is if someone says to me, yeah, but, you know, American foreign policy and that, so I beheaded a woman. Nah, like there's just, I can't get on board with that anymore. You know, and this is what I keep saying about ISIS as well. This idea, right? I've seen this one brought up a lot as well. That the stance from Western governments that we do not negotiate with terrorists actually encourages terrorism because they can't get round a table to discuss their points. Again, maybe you can make that argument and show me an example, and maybe, just maybe, I can see where you're coming from. Here's the problem. You get ISIS round a table. Okay, here's what we want. What do you want, Mr. ISIS?
Sharia everywhere.
Sharia law everywhere and the complete destruction of all Western society and anyone we label an infidel. That's not going to fly. and that is somehow mandated, you know, directly from their interpretation of a book that cannot be altered or changed. Therefore, you can't even go to the source and fix the problem. Because as I keep telling you, the Quran and Islam indeed itself makes a very unique claim, and that is that not only is it the direct and literal word of God, it is the last and final time God will speak to anyone else, and anything that comes after it must be disbelieved because we said so. God said so. Once you know, so this you've got all sorts of problems with this. We've done bits on the show before where we've looked at just some of the foul deeds ISIS have perpetrated, and this is why I despair when we lose our humanity and we label all Muslims as being part of the problem. I'm not saying I like Islam as an ideology. It doesn't speak to me. I don't really like any religious ideologies. But the biggest victims of groups like ISIS and other terrorist extremist groups and Wahhabists and Salafists, it's other Muslims. We've all seen the pictures of the women who, after a city has been liberated, they throw off and burn their burqas and hijabs because there it was an oppressive thing. It wasn't a choice. I don't understand then how people like Linda Sarsour and other feminists can then promote the hijab as a symbol of feminism when it literally is a symbol of oppression. But I mean, that's a debate for another time. And it's not really that important in the grand context of things. ISIS are fucking evil. I don't even use that term. I don't believe it really means anything. But to be so blinkered and so set upon any type of belief system, especially one that you believe is not only divine mandated, but will yield wonderful rewards the bigger the atrocity you commit, that's about as close to evil as I think we're going to get. And when you talk about, fucking horrific stories like the one we did on the show of an imprisoned woman who was raped daily for months, other women fed their own children after being starved without their knowledge. I mean, what are we doing here? Like anybody who says, like, well, we should probably just take it a bit easy on ISIS, right? Like, maybe they're misunderstood. They're not. They're really not. There is no defending their position, right? And anybody who chooses to align themselves with that, all you fucking libtards who see Nazis everywhere because they got Pepe the fucking Frog as their Twitter profile pic, and you're saying these people should be locked up. If you align yourself with anybody who's even vaguely questioning the narrative, you're a Nazi. All right, can you get as fucking worked up about ISIS, please? Can you liberals get as worked up as you do about somebody posting Pepe the Frog in an airport? Can you get as wound up about fucking ISIS and people who recruit ISIS soldiers in our own countries, people who use social media to recruit ISIS terrorists? Can you, if you just take a little bit of that fire, a little bit of that energy and direct it at a worthwhile target, I don't know, maybe, just maybe, we might start tackling this problem head on instead of the pernicious and cancer, that is ISIS and Wahhabist and Salafist ideology, which is now rapidly spreading in countries that had only, by comparative terms, recently introduced Islam as part of its multiculturalism, multicultural backdrop. So anyway, here's why we're not going to beat the problem anytime soon. I pick out these stories. I mean, you probably saw the one. It's a little bit old now, but you probably saw the one where the UK, gave £250,000 in legal aid for a known ISIS terrorist recruiter. Meanwhile, of course, you get people who just don't qualify for legal aid every goddamn day. They got $250,000 to fight being deported. Our legal system allows that for some reason. And this is what I mean. This is when people go, yeah, but it's a human right, isn't it? I don't know, mate. I know it's a slippery slope. I don't want to remove people's human rights. I think maybe we should just revise that policy a little bit, where if it's not even up for debate, they're not even denying that they're recruiting for ISIS. What are we defending them for with taxpayers' money? Nobody wants them here. Sorry. Even the defense lawyer's embarrassed about this shit. You've got to take that money. But anyway, it's happening all over in Europe, all over the place. This is an RT, that's RussianTimes.com, and obviously that's going, the Russians. So, again, I'll say take it with a pinch of salt, but just have a butcher's right. Mensch was right. Mensch was on the gear. So just have a look at this, right? This is a 16-year-old girl who ran away to join ISIS, was just welcomed back home, allowed immediately back into the country, with no action being taken, and the sort of representative of local government said everyone deserves a second chance.
No, they don't, though.
Now, here's the thing. 16-year-old girl, been radicalized, still young. Yes, absolutely. This shouldn't be something that fucks up their entire life. I'm not saying this is an example of somebody that should go to jail forever, but this is somebody that needs to be put into some sort of secure unit for children, right? I mean, we need to be sure that the runaway girl hasn't brought a little bit of ISIS back with her, right? I mean, we can agree with that. I mean, just because she's a 16-year-old girl doesn't mean she's not capable of, learning how to, make a bomb. I'm not a misogynist. I want to treat her the same as we treat a 16-year-old guy, and we would deem a 16-year-old guy a threat, wouldn't we? But no, apparently this individual just straight back in on the basis that they are a child And therefore they deserve a second chance at life. And this ties in with what we talked about earlier. In Sweden, people in their mid to late 20s are coming back from fighting for ISIS, coming back to Sweden, and then moaning that they can't get a fucking job. I can't. People, I tweeted a photo out of me holding up a severed head on and on Facebook, I recorded a video of me firing an AK into some innocent civilians in Syria, and now my employers don't want to bloody hire me back. This is the nonsense. This is the madness. Like, again, I'm not talking about fucking up this kid's life for the rest of their life. I wouldn't even say that about a murderer. You know, there's got to be a belief in rehabilitation, or we've really got to rethink the core values of our society holistically, right? But like, you don't just come back and just chill and just put your feet up, go get a part-time job if you've run away to join ISIS. We can't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? We just can't.
I say we go with the old parenting route of, if they catch you smoking, they make you smoke you a pack. You want to be an ISIS, do you? Well, stay in ISIS.
Yeah, here's the problem with that definition.
Yeah, probably not incredibly reasonable.
Here's the problem with that analogy. You say if you get caught smoking one, you have to smoke the whole pack of 20. Well, you've been caught beheading one innocent civilian, so now you must behead all of these innocent civilians. It's not really a deterrent, is it? Like, or maybe it is, I don't know, but it's not what I'm willing to pay. Then you had this, right? So you'll have seen a lot lately about Guantanamo Bay detainees who've been released, and they've been getting compensation. You know, most famously the case over in Canada we talked about on the show, but this happened in the UK. So this is again just mind-blowing. This just shows how we don't have a handle on this shit at all. This is a story. Okay, well, I'll just read you the full thing so we don't miss out any details. Taxpayers' money that was paid to a Guantanamo Bay detainee was passed on to teenage jihadists who later died fighting in Syria, an official report has revealed. Omar Degayes is said to have paid young Muslim boys to attend a gym where it is feared children were vulnerable to radicalization. Two of the boys, who were both Mr. Degayes' nephews, were later killed fighting for an Islamist terrorist group in Syria. The payments emerged in a damning review into the failure of police and social services to prevent the teenage brothers traveling to Syria to wage jihad. The report reveals that the police and other authorities were warned about the teenage network attending the gym by a teacher at the boys' school. The concerns, which have been passed to the government's anti-radicalization program, PREVENT, were ignored. And we see this time and time again, okay? This has happened under Conservatives, by the way. Theresa May, her time as Home Secretary is peppered with incompetence. You see, to stop radicalization, we need police that can work with local Muslim communities and be approachable and be visible and have a relationship there. Because I guarantee you, most Muslims don't want jihadists next door, right? There's many reasons for this. The most obvious, of course, is that we've seen it before. Armed police raids, they get the number wrong and they shoot some innocent guy in a shower, right? You don't want a jihadist next door. Not only that, they're mixing chemicals and that, aren't they? If their house goes up, your house is probably going up. So there's a self-preservation element. I see all this bullshit about how like moderate Muslims hide them and that. Nah, I lived in Birmingham, lived around the corner from a mosque. Let me tell you, that's nonsense. So you need police in these communities. Theresa May took them away. Having a good time running through the wheat fields, naughty little girl that she is. And in the place of the police, they just co-opted soldiers. So we had this paramilitary style set up. Well, let me tell you, the last person, unfortunately, for good or ill, you can judge this statement in any way you want, but the last person the average settling Muslim in Britain wants to talk to is a British soldier. And hopefully the reasons are obvious. We have fought some bullshit wars in the Middle East, you know. We have invaded countries for no discernible reason and killed innocent civilians with drones and bombs and guns and tanks. They have got a bit of a right to have a chip on their shoulder, ladies and gentlemen, right? Now, okay, of course, you're in Britain now. Let's all get along. Let's put the past behind us and let's move forward and understand that community doesn't need to be dictated by big government. We can all come together as individuals, right? We can all come together as individuals and have a consensus, uneasy as it might be, that we can all get along and look out for each other, even if we don't always disagree with the way that we privately live our lives. All right, that's fine. We can do that. Once you start throwing soldiers into the mix, all of a sudden, going to them and telling them about the jihadists next door, it's not quite as viable, is it? It's not. You don't want to talk to these people. You don't feel safe around these people. You might have had relatives that were killed by British soldiers. That's an all too common story, by the way, if you've ever talked to any Muslims in Britain. So you have that, and then you have these fucking schemes and programs, all funded with public money, which are literally just cunts sitting on a phone. Shop a jihadi. You ring up. Yeah, I think this cunt's a jihadi. Sound. I'm putting that into the computer right now. It's like a call center. You've seen how attentive the average call center worker is. Yeah, I'm putting that right. Just making a note on the system, and this is going straight to MI5. We're fighting a losing battle. And then when money does go into the hands of these people, because we've got all these like fucked up schemes of atonement, because we acknowledge we did some fucking crazy things. I mean, like I say, our intervention in the Middle East directly leads to the existence of ISIS. It's not even a debate anymore, by the way. That toppling Saddam Hussein was the worst thing we could have fucking done if we wanted a handle on radical Islam. ISIS was fucking all of the elite guard from Iraq, pretty much. That's how it got up and running. So you can thank George Bush and Blair for the shit we're dealing with now. Just another fucking feather in Bush's cap. Another reason why I hate George Bush and say he's the worst president who ever lived. Not my
reason the citizens arrest Tony Blair.
Yeah. Mate, I'm there. Hashtag not my president. I was there. I was there with Michael Moore. Yeah. You're morphing into Peter Griffin. So there you have it. So we gave money to this guy to say, sorry for sticking you in Gitmo. And the money goes to his nephews, who then take that money, fly out and fight jihad. Brilliant. We just funded jihadists. What a system. We can't win, Sam. Can't win. So there you go. ISIS. We got a lot of work to do, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'll do one little palate cleanser, all right, before we fucking go into the second half of the show, because I know people are probably like, no, Richard, you've been all serious there and talking about the ISIS and that. I used to know a guy whose mother was called ISIS.
So
can imagine entering into America. It was always fun.
Yeah, she's never gone on holiday.
Yeah.
See them ISIS. I get to the ground. It's happening again. It's happening again.
Why does this keep happening to me? All right. So we just found a funny thing. I did get some funny things. There are funny things. Was there? Did I have one? I can just drop in. All right, here you go. We'll do this and then we'll take a break. Now, I think we've all agreed here, Sam, by now. I hope we have, right? That the pay gap is just nonsense, isn't it?
That's not real.
It's just not real. It's a tiny little percentage gap, maybe, if you go across all careers and all jobs at all levels and stratas, right? And then when you get to an executive level, you know, it's all fair game, innit? Once you're in a position where you command your salary through negotiation, right? Then obviously all bets are off. I mean, there'll be people in the same position as me, for example. I mean, I put it this way, right? I'm technically a TV host, right? I guarantee I don't make as much as other TV hosts at the company.
You're not making Ernie money, are you, mate?
On earning money, no. Maybe I will be if it's the company for as long as him. I don't know. But when negotiations come up, for example, I recently re-signed with Turner. People know this. So I negotiated. And I said, I want this, and I want this, and you're doing this, and this is happening. And they went, we don't know about that last thing. We're not going to call you God Emperor around the office. But the rest of it's fine. So you can have it.
We will wash your feet.
Yeah. So boom, I got my pay rise and all that, right? So that's what I had to do. Now, and again, I'm not making any gender determinations about this, but if you're offered money and you just go, yeah, I'll have that, just happy to have this job, right? Then you're going to look around eventually and find some people have got more money than you. Some people say there's studies that prove women aren't as good at negotiating. I don't really give a fuck about any of that. I'm not going to stand here and say that's true. I think any studies like that need to be kind of treated a little bit dubiously, because it's not like I think sociology is a hard science. That sounds an awful lot like sociology to me. But there you go. So the pay gap's bollocks. It's been bollocks. It's been proven bollocks. It's been debunked and debunked and debunked. And it's just some dry feminist talking point. But society's starting to get it now. This little thing with the BBC notwithstanding, it's always the virtue signalers doing all the crazy shit. You know what I mean? It's always the priests. Love kids, mate. Now come into my special room and I will show you how to pray. So anyway, what do you think we're complaining about now? What's the next big gap, Sam? What's the next big gap? The Watford gap? What is it? What's the next big gap?
I think I might have seen this. Is it the intelligence gap?
No. We talked a little bit about that, but that's none of that privilege.
Whipping it round.
Oh, we're not whipping it around. Is the next big gap, Sam? The oral sex gap. No,
this one might actually be real, though.
Not in my bedroom, man. So anyway, look, this is an article basically talking about how men get more blowjobs than they give out cunnilingus. Right? Now, I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, you could try harder, come on. It's unreasonable.
But is this really something to be upset about?
Is this news or?
I'm going to tell you, right? I'm going to tell you something, all right? If you're having unsatisfactory sex with any sex partner, regardless of gender and all that, right? You need to have a conversation with that partner. If they're not fucking eating you out enough or making you come or doing the thing you like with the finger in the back door or whatever the fuck, you got to sit them down and say, look, sex is good, but you know what the fuck would top it off? Yeah.
It's not the male gender's fault because he ain't eating your monkey correctly. I don't know why it's every man's bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the idea... But just look at this, right? Just look at this line, mate. This is mind-boggling. Because this person who wrote this is being serious. There's not a trace of irony when they say this, right? In fact, I'm going to read you all of the 5 paragraphs here because I need you to understand tonality. I need you to understand, see if you can spot the point where they should have stopped writing the article, okay? I started having sex when I was 17. I'm now 23 and can count the number of times guys have gone down on me on 2 hands. Right? If you asked me to count the number of blowjobs I've given in that same time period, I'd have no idea. I've lost count. This isn't me bragging about my blowjob skills or my number of sexual partners. Many of those blowjobs were on the same guy. My sex and dating life is pretty shit.
Why are you telling me all this nonsense?
Dear diary,
Innit?
This is me questioning why it is that I've given significantly more oral sex than I received, why I haven't asked for more, and why it seemed totally acceptable for so long. I'm going to go with insecurity. I'm going to go with you being one of those people who you do things to people that you think they're going to like, and you're too cowardly to ask for reciprocation because you shy away from conflict, because conflict might mean rejection all over again. It's insecurity. There you go. I've laid you out on the couch and I fixed your problem. You're just massively insecure. Go get some therapy and stop blaming men. But anyway, here we go. I'm tired of it. Oh, it's so tiring. I've got fucking lockjaw. So tired of giving all this head, desperately hoping for head. Right? By the way, they say if a guy gives head expecting head back, he's a cunt. They say that. No, you shouldn't just do things to your partner in the hope that you get some of it back. That's really inconsiderate. Nobody should ever have to do anything they don't want to in the bedroom. Well, hang on a fucking minute. Can't have it both ways. She wants it both ways. Again, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I don't even see the problem. Like, any guy who's ever said like, real men don't eat pussy, like, fuck off.
Get out of my eyes.
Grow the fuck up, mate.
What do? Suck knob? You know what I mean? Nah. Real men just do whatever the fuck they want to. I think that's what real men do.
Right. So anyway, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of blowjobs being a given while going down on women is something special. I'm tired of just accepting that idea of accepting men's excuses and of quietly pretending that this isn't happening. Okay, get ready, guys. It's a small issue in the grand scheme of gender inequality. It's not as important as the gender pay gap or rape culture or honor killing.
Hang on. Are we on planet Zog? Honor killings?
But we need to talk about it. She's right. Whether or not she gets eaten out isn't as important as an honor killing. She's right. She's fucking right. Like, how do you write that down and say it's not as important as an honor killing, but we need to talk? Actually, we don't, do we? I should write something about honor killings.
It should be written to myself.
Yeah.
I should burn this after writing and just tell my therapist that I wrote everything down.
Right. But here's the thing, mate. Like clockwork. Don't mean the Dota 2 character. Reference.
Good one.
Got him. Internationals coming, mate. So, here's some of the responses. Right, it's mental, mate. There's some of these comments are just out of fucking control, mate. Right, here you go. I'm going to read you this one. She's got dyed hair, of course. All these dudes coming up in here saying how they love to go down and are doing their part to close the gap. Aren't really.
I am an ally.
Yeah. They aren't really helping. Not everything is about you. This is an article about some woman not getting eaten out enough in her private life. Like, not everything is about everyone else, is it? That article is just about her. If you really want to help, talk to your bros and make sure they understand that women...
Bros.
Yeah, look, it's in capitals. Make sure they understand that women want and deserve to come.
Hey, bros, I just want you to know women totally deserve to come.
Who's doing that, mate? Who's doing that? Like, if I took you down the boozer, right, we're smashing in a couple of pints, and I just go, hey, Sam, mate, you know what? Muff your girlfriend, yeah.
I'm going home, Rich. You're mentally out.
Listen to Sam, they love it. Just make sure you do it now and then, you know what I mean? Anyway, who wants to go to Wrexham? Right? Obviously, do you know what I mean? You would think I was a mad cunt. You'd be like, Rich, what you doing? Like, it's just none of your business, is it? Indoctrinating me on how to fuck. That's weird. That's so weird. Like, Sam, come here, mate. I've had a few, yeah, but are you eating gas?
Give her one for me.
Stop now. It is time to stop. Like, anyway, women want and deserve to come, and that they should be giving just as much oral as they are getting. Right? This is a pretty mad one. You'll appreciate this comment here. Here we go. Ladies, this is why you must demand your orgasm before his.
Reasonable as fuck.
make this rule that he doesn't get to go inside you with his penis into any hole until he makes you come good and hard.
Fucking hell, calm down, Maria, love.
She's militant, mate. It gets worse, right? If he got all his sex ed from porn, he might throw a mantrum. I didn't even know that was a word.
God.
I believe that's a
Imagine just fucking this girl. Imagine I'm just going like, oh, yes, I will do everything you say. What is that? I must wank in a corner until you come 3 times. Yeah, sure, yeah.
What's that? I must cry and shit in my own hands. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, isn't it?
I'd rather wank, actually. I'll just leave.
I'll just crack one off, love it sound. Worst Tinder date ever, like. So anyway, he might throw a mantrum over this. When that happens, show him where the door is. Don't give in. He is used to getting his way and not giving back. Due to porn, you must train him up good. I just want to say, right, like I rarely do the exercise, let's reverse the genders, because obviously it's a bit stupid to do that. It's like just low-hanging fruit, isn't it? Well, if you said this about men, I find it really boring. But let's do it. If I said, right, don't fuck your girlfriend until she has slobbed on your knob good and proper, you must demand it, right? If she refuses to suck you off, show her the door, right? She refuses to do it because of feminism. You must train her good. If I said that, I mean, I would be a misogynistic cunt, wouldn't I? Like, hands down, you would just go, fucking hell, Richard, your attitude to women fucking stinks. Like, you all right? Were you fucked up as a kid or something? What's wrong with you?
You would want to say, were you just fucked by a feminist or something?
It was your first memory of just some fucking blue-haired woman just, I don't know, whatever.
Screaming in your eyes.
But do you know what I mean? But that's a perfectly acceptable thing to say, apparently, about guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so ridiculous. All right, one last comment from there, and then we'll take a break and spam some ads and that, and lose all our viewership. The usual process. Okay, and I think this one just kind of succinctly shows. Remember, you can't say misandry. If you say misandry, the act of hating men just because they're men, if you say that exists, you're a misogynist by definition. You're an MRA. Oh, you're into men's rights? No, I'm into human rights, and I'm into not labeling people certain things just because of the group that they belong to. Something that they cannot help. They were just born that way. I don't do that. That's why I'm not a racist or a sexist, you see. You know, and I don't think you should be a misandrist. It's not real. It's not real. It 100% is. You kind of proved my point. Final comment. Look, just ridiculous, this one. It's a belter, right? Let's just face the fact that men are only interested in themselves. Right? Let's just face the fact all men are cunts. Reasonable assessment, isn't it? Like, just fucking, why not? So, all right then, Sam. I'm going to calm down. Gonna have me some of that special Valium juice that I drink, and we'll come back and we'll do the second half of the show. Just so you guys do stick around. You don't. We watch it every time. As soon as we go to a break, we lose about 65 people. It's like YouTube. Here's what we're going to be talking about. TJ Miller and Social Justice, the movie, aka the Emoji Movie. We're going to talk about Dave Rubin, the Jewish Nazi. Yep, more mental illness. And we've got a list of things, ridiculous things, that are now either racist or can't be racist. So we're going to take you through those. So anyway, we'll have a short break, a few minutes, and we're going to come back. All right, welcome back. Good to see all the stragglers sticking around. So we'll get right back into the show. One thing that I didn't tease just before we went to the break was something that I tweeted out. And I'm sure a lot of people who are watching obviously follow my Twitter. So you've probably seen this already. But I just wanted to commit it to recording because it's important that we document the madness. And I tweeted out a little thing. You know, we've talked about Game of Thrones on the podcast. And, I think it's terrible. But it's terrible in the same way, fast food is terrible. I'll indulge myself from time to time, maybe a little bit too much from time to time. And that's how it is with Game of Thrones. It's like, I know it's shit television, but I'm gonna keep watching it till the end because it just is what it is. It's predictable. It's derivative. The acting's not great. The dialogue's not great. But yeah, it's just mildly entertaining, and it just sucks me away from the horror that is my life. So I'm just going to watch it. But imagine, all right, if you did watch it and what you saw was just things that just weren't real. As in things you imagine and insert into the broadcast. Well, this is what happened. So over on Yahoo News the other day, there was this article, and it was called "One Annoying Thing from the Jon Snow and Daenerys Scene You Only Noticed If You're a Woman." Now, obviously, there'll be some spoilers here, and again, if you cry about spoilers, I suggest you grow the fuck up. Just grow up, seriously. I got no time for spoiler culture, Sam. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. If you want the whole internet to stop because you haven't got around to watching a TV show, you're unfucking reasonable. You're a child. Like, it was like, I had the Star Wars movie spoil. I knew Han Solo was going to die going into that movie. Did I cry about it? No. Why? Because I'm a fucking grown up and I don't believe that. No, I still want to use social media where everyone's talking about the movie, but I don't want a bloody You can't have it both ways. You fucking idiot. Get there on day one if you don't want to risk a spoiler, and shut the fuck up. You fucking children. All right, anyway. So, Daenerys, Stormborn with a bunch of other bullshit titles that she made up for herself, I'm pretty sure. And Jon Snow, who just seems to be able to teleport from one side of the world to the other. They do this with all the characters, actually. Littlefinger especially, he's just all over the place whenever he needs to be. Varys too. They finally met up. It's the first time. And they're having a chit-chat. And it's all about basically, look, I know you want to be queen and get on that Iron Throne, but I've seen a bunch of crazy zombie cunts up north, and they're going to fuck us all in the face if you don't get a grip. She doesn't believe him because she ain't seen the zombies. Jon doesn't want to bend the knee because he's the king in the north and blah, blah. So they have this little conversation. Now, for me, it's just the furthering of a pretty boring and tired plot line. That's it. I watched it. I thought this would be a bit more epic. Silly me. I'm expecting the writers to put some stuff, some effort in. What this writer on Yahoo saw was raw, unadulterated sexism, Sam.
Of course.
Of course, mate. Of course, because why not, right? So you go. One of the great feats of Game of Thrones is that for the hour every Sunday I spend watching each episode, I'm completely transported from reality and taken deep into the wild world of Westeros. When I was watching The Queen's Justice, that's the name of the episode, however, one scene felt all too real. Like ripped from the headlines, why am I still protesting this shit real? It was the much anticipated meeting of Jon Snow and Daenerys, and she does the dialogue from the episode. The long-awaited scene garnered lots of chatter on social media, namely that the whole laundry list of Daenerys' titles is getting to be rather annoying, definitely is, as is Daenerys herself, definitely is, and about how refreshing it is that Jon Snow doesn't concern himself with accolades, he's the real deal. Did no one else see what I saw? Well, no, because your brand of mental illness is very unique to you. That's like people who fucking are in the grips of like mass hallucinations or an acid trip. Can anyone else see that? No, you took the drugs. I didn't. Why would I see it? But look,
the room's purple.
Can anyone else see this? No, you're wrecked, aren't you? Because I was watching the most obvious metaphor for sexism in the workplace. The most stereotypical man versus woman job interview in fake history. Here's this orphan girl who spent the better part of her life being subjugated by men, toiling endlessly to rise up and do some good along the way. She's an up, and then of course she freed a bunch of slaves. Stay woke.
So
she's now in a position of power, backed by a killer resume. She's a working mom with 3 unruly toddlers. Those are the dragons, Sam.
Good jokes.
She got material, this writer. 3 unruly toddlers. She's proud of her accomplishments, and she isn't about to be all modest about it. And here's Jon Snow, a bastard with no birthright. Yes, but a white man. Who apparently needs no introduction.
Jon Snow, white man.
Yeah. It won't be long before we do just have characters called, like, just fucking evil McRacist man. Do you know what I mean? Like, not evil McRacist man. Right, this is where we're headed. Like, sure, Daenerys spent a good deal of time on bend the knee semantics when there are justly some bigger undead fish to fry. But before everyone writes off Dany as just another bossy bitch, consider the context. I don't want to. This has got nothing to do with sexism in the workplace.
I don't want to listen to your mental illness anymore.
Do you know what I mean? And this is what I love about it. It's weird, isn't it? Because like every time Game of Thrones is on, they look at like some context where they'll go, we did it on the previous show. There's so many rapes and sexual assaults in Game of Thrones. It's just an inherently sexist world, and it's horrible and it's mean. It's got to stop. How many men have had their cock and balls cut off, Sam? The Unsullied, who were the best army in the world, by the way, have their cock and balls cut off. Grey Worm, no cock and balls.
As fuck.
Straight breaking that oral sex gender gap wide.
Exactly. He's 100% always giving 0 takes in.
Yeah, exactly. We should hook him up with that Maria chick. she'd fucking love Grey Worm. Right?
Doesn't even have to jet.
Yeah, he can't jet. Right? Varys. Smartest motherfucker in the world. No cock and balls. No cock and balls. Right. Can I now say that Game of Thrones is promoting being beta cucklords to fucking a generation of men? Can I say that now? I'd be considered mad, wouldn't I? People would go, Richard, haven't you got better things to talk about? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, isn't it? But basically, everyone who's good at stuff has their cock and balls off. Ser Jorah, everyone loves him. He may as well not have a cock and balls. He's in the friend zone gulag. You know what I mean?
I will serve forever.
You can just read anything into this shit. Saw that guy from Star Wars saying there was no black people in Game of Thrones. No people of colour. Is though.
No, yeah. 100% is.
People are just mental, mate. Right, anyway, let's get into the good thing. I suppose we can segue into race from here. Why not? Okay, let's start with the ridiculous. And I mean the ridiculous. There's a new thing, Sam, that you've got to be mindful of, right? According to Teen Vogue, you'll remember Teen Vogue, they employ Lauren Duker. That's Lauren Duker, who got Martin Shkreli banned off Twitter for making, for posting a collage of her someone else made. Meanwhile, she has said that she wants Donald Trump to die and white people to die and she wants men to be obsolete and, you know.
Boyfriend, of course.
Yeah. Totally fine. But anyway. Right, you're going to struggle with this, Sam. I know this segment is going to test your patience, and I just want to say, for the brain cells that are about to die, I salute them, all right? Because this is an article on Teen Vogue that says we need to talk about digital blackface.
Why, though?
Which, by the way, that's the villain's name in my next novel I'm writing. Who are we trying to overthrow? Digital blackface. Like, what is going on, right? So what's digital blackface? What the fuck is digital blackface? You're not going to believe this, Sam, right? It's when white people use GIFs of reactions from black icons and celebrities.
What? So I can't even... What is this? Actual segregation.
Right? No, listen, mate. If you've never heard the term before, why would I? You've just made it up. Why would I have heard it before? It's like, oh, you know that song before, Sam? No, I just made it up. Made it up because I'm mental. If you've never heard
you haven't heard the voices in my head, let me explain to you what they tell me.
If you've never heard of the term before, digital blackface is used to describe various types of minstrel performance that become available in cyberspace. Blackface minstrelsy is a theatrical tradition dating back to the early 19th century, which performers blacken themselves up in costumes. Yes, we all know what happened, right? How does this relate to fucking GIFs, right? It talks about Jim Crow, it talks about slavery. How does it relate to GIFs? Well, it says, unlike other physical executions of blackface that require physical alterations, digital blackface is in some ways a more seamless transformation. Digital blackface uses the anonymity of online identity to embody blackness. So digital blackface is, for example, if you're a white person and you want to express how you're feeling, and you take a gif of a black woman, say, for example, I don't know, let's do something stereotypical, Sam. Let's live a little. Let's be dangerous. Let's be wild. I'm sure we've all seen that, right? We all seen that, right? Hopefully that doesn't make me a Nazi now, that I've just done that on a show. I don't even know anymore. Maybe it does. But we all know that that's a thing that has happened. I don't know who started it. I don't know who the first ever person to do that was, right? But if I tweeted a gif of that saying, this is how I feel right now, I am engaging in an act of digital blackface.
What was the word you used? Minstrel or something?
Minstrelsy.
Minstrelsy.
Yeah.
Online minstrelsy.
So there you go. Digital. So that is racist now, everyone. I just want you guys to know digital blackface is coming to a Twitter timeline near you soon. If you've ever tweeted a gif of a black person doing something when you're not black, then it turns out that you are indeed a racist, whether you believe it or not. Now, hang on, there was a ridiculous, where was it? God, there was a quote from here. I should have fucking put it to one side because it's even more insane. Where was it? Here it is. Now, I'm not suggesting that white and non-black people refrain from ever circulating a black person's image for amusement or otherwise, except maybe lynching photos, Emmett Till's casket, and videos of cops killing us. Y'all can stop cycling those, thanks. Have you... Sam, I'm going to stop the show now. I haven't posted my daily lynching photo on...
Isn't it?
What is that? Like, what madness is that? There's no prescriptive or proscriptive step-by-step rule book to follow. How convenient. I guess it means you can just manufacture outrage whenever you want.
It is all in my rule book, in my mind.
Nobody's coming to take gifts away. They said that about games. Then you took them away. But no digital behavior exists in a deracialized vacuum. We all need to be cognizant of what we share, how we share, and to what extent that sharing dramatizes pre-existing racial formulas inherited from real life. The internet isn't a fantasy, it's real life. Yeah, and in real life, if a black person does something funny and I like it and I think it's funny, it's okay for me to anecdotally talk about the time the black person did the funny thing. It don't make me a racist, does it? Or does it? I don't know anymore. I'm scared. I'm having an aneurysm, Sam. It's happened. There you go. Digital blackface, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Richard. You've deliberately picked out a ridiculous, extreme example there of what racism is. So stop being, the world's not going mad. You just cherry pick your examples to make it look like the world's gone mad. Your show is garbage. I liked it better when it was just about esports, right? Okay, all right. Let's go to Sainsbury's in the UK. Sainsbury's accused of racism, right? Why are they accused of racism, Sam? Well, not just any type of racism, by the way, corporate racism on a corporate level. And it was in a London store And what they've done is there's this thing called ackee, right? Which is a type of food that you have with like fish in Caribbean cuisine. And, it's very popular in Caribbean cuisine. And this guy went into a store and he saw that the cans were in security tags. Okay. Corporate racism, right? Now,
living next door to Aki.
No, it's a type of fruit.
Oh, okay.
In fact, we have it with saltfish. Ackee and saltfish is the thing that you're getting Caribbean food. Anyway, so this was deemed to be racism. Do you know why? Because the 20-pound bottles of truffle oil, they're not in security tags, but something directly related with Caribbean food, that's racism to put it in a security tag. Must be. You didn't put hummus or hummus, or however the fuck you want to pronounce.
Hummus?
Yeah, however you want to pronounce.
Who's fucking eating hummus round here?
Eating fucking hummus.
Hummus.
Yeah. You didn't put that in the security tags, so it's racist. Okay, well, I have a vast experience in the world of retail. And in retail, they have these things called loss prevention. Loss prevention. And what that is it's to stop shoplifting, which is a genuine hazard. You see, cameras do act as a mild deterrent, but determined shoplifters will still shoplift because the camera only catches you after the fact, and police don't invest a lot of time and resources in tracking down shoplifters unless they're serial shoplifters or they're already known to the police. It takes a lot to identify somebody from a camera. It's not really worth the CPS's time. It's not the kind of work police like to do. So the cameras are a deterrent, but they don't always lead to convictions, and retail outlets and stores lose thousands, tens of thousands every year through shoplifting, and not just shoplifting and other types of theft and destruction. So they have measures to prevent that. Now, one of the things you do is if you notice an item is being stolen repeatedly and is desirable in your area where you shop, if you notice that one item repeatedly goes missing, you put the security tags on it because it's a desirable item. It's not racism. You're reacting to a situation to prevent your business being ripped off. Now, for whatever reason, the shoplifters that go in there like a bit of ackee. So they're rogue in the ackee, mate. Right? It's not racism. No one's saying they're black. No one's saying they're white. No one's making any determination about who the shoplifters are. They just know cans of ackee are going.
They just know everyone loves ackee, like.
Yeah, and they just don't want their ackee to go missing. That's it. Right? Now, you'll notice other things that are security tagged in shops. Condoms, pretty much always security tagged. Types of hair product seem to be popular. Certain types of pharmaceuticals. This isn't anything to do, women's sanitary products. I remember there was a furor about that. I think like sanitary towels or Tampax or whatever in some store had been security tagged. And everyone's like, oh my God. Well, yeah, obviously there's some women in that store or men who shoplifting them for their girlfriends or whatever, have taken enough from the store that they've said, well, we've got to try and put a stop to this, so to put a security tag around. This is about dollars and cents. It's not about color of skin. This is absurd, right? I mean, you're with me on this one, Sam, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Good. Just checking.
It's just maths, isn't it? You just look up what has been robbed the most. Let's put this in boxes. Sound.
There you go. Razor blades are another one as well, because they're expensive items that are easy to shoplift and obviously desirable repeatedly by groups of people who shoplift. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't know what else to tell you. So there was that. So I thought, fucking hell, racism, really? And of course, you've got to remember, right, that we still live in a world where people are saying you can't be racist against white people. And I don't know, Sam, I don't think that's true, mate.
Yeah, I don't think so either, mate.
I really don't think that's true.
I think
because
the definition of racism had a colour assigned to
it. Yeah, see, I don't remember that either. I remember racism being if you hate and discriminate against somebody just solely on the colour of their skin and ethnicity, right? Like, that, to me, was what racism was about. We're going to show you another example of a ridiculous accusation of racism. This one, pretty interesting, about a vegan restaurant. Okay, so a vegan restaurant had its windows smashed in the last set of riots pertaining to Rashan Charles. And you can see immediately how biased this write-up of it is. Because it opens up by saying, on Friday evening, a peaceful protest in Dalston for justice for Rashan Charles was escalated by a heavy police presence. One event that occurred on this evening was the smashing of front windows of a local vegan restaurant called Fed by Water, abbreviated to just Fed. Now, it seems to me a bit of an oxymoron, right? A peaceful protest, sound. You have a police presence there. All right, sound, that's normal. There's a gathering of people. We don't know what they're going to do. They're protesting. They're angry. They're emotional. Let's send the police out to monitor the situation. And then it escalated. So what? Did the police smash them windows then? Bloody hell, I'm sick of all this overtime. Truncheon the fucking windows in. No, it was the protesters that did it. And the moment that the protesters have crossed over that threshold and start smashing up windows of local businesses, it's not a peaceful protest, is it? It's a riot, you see. These are very... All you got to do is just use English. It's really simple. We've got all the terms and all the labels, right? So anyway, as you can imagine, being a vegan restaurant, and therefore obviously woke as fuck, right? just saying... You know, you're obviously woke if you're a vegan restaurant. They were a little bit upset about what happened. And one local kind of pointed out, and it said, among the destruction in Dalston last night, it was very sad to see that Fed by Water had their windows smashed. This is a restaurant that prides itself on serving cruelty-free food because they don't like harming animals, and then is ironically harmed by animals. Okay? Now, he's just saying if you smash people's property, you're behaving like an animal. That's it. Many other small local businesses had their windows smashed and faced a similar night tonight with protests due to start at 2 p.m. More police, helicopters, horses, officers, etc. will all be needed to try and maintain order. It's a huge waste of resources. Yes, there are things wrong with the system that need to be addressed, but setting things on fire and smashing windows of local businesses, not the answer. Definitely isn't, is it? I mean, let's be clear. Somebody died in police custody. You don't like that fact. How does smashing up a vegan restaurant get justice for that man? Assuming an injustice has been perpetrated. Does anyone have the answer to that? Yes, you're angry. Maybe your anger is valid. What's Fed by Water got to do with anything? They're not out back going, free hummus.
Yeah, they're just making hipster little salads and shit.
Free hummus and falafels for any cop who's killed a black person in custody. They're not doing that, are they? They're not feeding evil, delicious vegan goods, you know. They're a local business. They've clearly taken an ethical standpoint on the treatment of animals. And you've took one look at that business and thought, this deserves to be targeted. This is part of the state apparatus. And that is being prejudiced. Well, it's not. It's a vegan fucking restaurant. You know, and again, I've got first-hand experience of it. Always bring it up. But I was out there when Birmingham had the fucking riots over the death of over a allegedly dubious police shooting in London. And the police kettled us all into this street called Corporation Street, where all the local businesses are. They kept us away from the bull ring, right? I was there as a journalist, by the way. I was in disguise. There's photos of me all looking like I'm a rioter, but I didn't riot. I was filming it. I nearly got killed. But you know, they took us away from the bull ring where the Selfridges are and the Marks and Spencers are, and they put us onto Corporation Street where all the local businesses are. Hatman got fucking destroyed. All that man does is sell hats.
Yeah, he was already skinned. How many people do you think is going to Hatman?
That's what I'm saying. Hatman. Do you know what I mean? You think there's a lot of money in that? You think Hatman is part of the fucking elite? He's there triangling it up with the rest of the Illuminati. Yes, let's keep the black man down.
We never expect the centre of all evil to be at Hatman.
The part was, if I remember rightly, Hatman was actually owned by somebody that had moved to Birmingham and settled, like, an immigrant who's founded their own business, was run almost exclusively by a black family. This will show the police to not ruin black lives. My fucking business. And they smashed up a Tesco Express. Stick it to the man. So here's the thing, right? When you smash up these small businesses, a small business, you might be in the middle class. You might be comfortably in the middle class. But we've all seen TV shows, like that one Gordon Ramsay does. Sometimes running a small business is fucking soul destroying. It's crushing you. It doesn't mean you got money in the bank. It means you got a fucking bank loan, and it means you're forever indebted to that bank, and you might be hemorrhaging money. Like, it turns out, I don't know how profitable a vegan restaurant is, but it turns out most people like fucking meat. You know what I mean? So maybe it's not that profitable. Maybe these people are really fucking struggling, and now they got a long insurance claim coming through, which I'm sure the insurance company's going to try and wriggle out of. I don't know. A riot kind of feels like an act of God to me. I'm Jimmy Savile again.
Look at my ring made from a child's eye.
Yep. Glass eye, that. Now,
it also happens to be an 8-ball. Let me spin it. Will I pay out? The child says... no.
Child says, why did you kill me? I don't know why we've escalated Jimmy Savile into being a child murderer now. Just to be clear, Jimmy Savile never killed a kid. He just had sex with corpses. So...
yeah, he was only a necrophile. Jesus, he's not some sort of fucking freak.
He's not a monster. So anyway...
is though.
So what they said was, in response to this, right? And again, this individual had made the point that, look, we gotta find out why young kids turn to violence. We gotta find out how they fall into gang lifestyles. We gotta find out how drugs take hold of certain communities, and we gotta fucking hold our politicians accountable. And all Fed by Water did was they took this post on their official Facebook page, and they said, all is said here. Thanks, Ben. Heart. All life matters. # be kind. Well, he's gone done fucked up, Annie.
He's gone said done what?
All life matters sounds a lot like all lives matter. And we all know that's racist, right? If you object to Black Lives Matter as a movement by saying all lives matter, apparently you're a Nazi. I don't understand how you get there. Like, I believe all life is sacred. You're a Nazi. Buddhist, actually. But okay, both have skinheads. So, needless to say, this write-up completely fucking condemns Fed by Water and says that they're an absolute disgrace and that they're encouraging racist rhetoric, and that by retweeting or posting the comment where he described the rioters as animals, right? It says here that this is ridiculous because you're meant to love animals because you're a vegan restaurant. But also, how dare you say all black people are animals? Come on. Didn't do that, did he?
Definitely didn't say that, though, did he?
Then somebody trawled through the official Twitter feed of the business, and they found that they liked a tweet that said perhaps black people should stop murdering black people. The guy swallowed his stash, no conspiracy here. Turns out that actually that's a lie. The guy, Rashan Charles, did swallow an object while in police custody. It's now been determined to be non-narcotic in nature. We're going to have to wait for the investigation to come out to make a determination about how and why he died in police custody. I'll wait for the facts before I get upset. Makes sense. But because somebody who was using the business Twitter liked that tweet, also racist, evil. This business is racist and evil, Sam.
Bloody vegans fucking evil again.
Here's the biggest madness about this, right? Because a business has objected to having rioters destroy it. I can't believe I'm having to say this. And they're upset by this. They're being labeled a racist. But then get this, right? To add to this is from the article, to add to this, the vegan community has often been criticized for retaining a very white demographic and not being intersectional. As a local vegan myself, I currently find it very shameful to have this restaurant claim to be a part of the vegan community. White vegans, they're dividing the vegans.
Mentally ill.
They
see it as if you have to be invited to the vegan club. If you want more black vegans, more black people are going to have to start being vegan, aren't they? I don't know what to say.
White vegans often advocate for the lives of animals, but their voices fall short when it comes to the lives of fellow humans who do not share their skin colour. White vegans are racist, Sam! Come on. This is fucking insanity. It's insanity, Sam. But remember, you can't be racist towards white people. You can't, right? You can't. Well, just come on, watch out for that digital blackface. Let's have a look. Let's go over to The Root. Saw this article on The Root. Obviously, The Root. It's a black interest lifestyle magazine. It's part of the Gizmodo collective, with Kotaku and Jezebel and all of that nonsense, Deadspin. So there was an article by Michael Harriot, Broke Becky, Pap Smears, and Why I'm Afraid of White Women. Right? So you're like, well, why would he be afraid? Right? Why
are you scared, though?
Right? Why are you afraid of white women? He says here, I do not hate women, I am afraid of them. So hang on, I actually did make a point of keeping the choice quotes from this article because there's plenty of ridiculous ones. Here we go. So I'll read you this bit. Let me just find it. From this part, right? That's why I'm afraid of white women. In fact, no, I'll read you the bit before. It talks about Obamacare. Because every time Broke Becky, I bet she collects unemployment too, gets her pap smear, she has the black president to thank, except she has spent her entire professional career standing in front of a white lynch mob and pointing her finger trying to kill Obamacare. Now, to be clear, Broke Becky is a character he's invented, right? In this article, Broke Becky represents like white trash, a white trash secret Republican who wants to kill Obamacare, but wants free healthcare as well because she's poor, and therefore this all kind of makes her racist. So he goes, this is why I'm afraid of white women. They will ask you to don a pink hat and march with them. They will readily paint themselves as allies or as a fellow oppressed people. They will convince you that they are in your corner. They will show you how white feminism intersects with racism. They will explain how white male patriarchy has always been the problem. Then, you like this bit, Sam? I'm gonna do a voice for it. Then they will slide behind the voting curtain and pull the lever for Donald Trump. They will call the police because you looked like you didn't belong there. They will say you raped them because of curfew. They will stand and watch men tie your baby boy to a cotton gin fan and toss him in the river.
No, they won't, though, will they?
Their lies a secret for 50 years. That level of duplicitous evil is scarier than any horror movie or demon story could ever inspire. Then, just dials it back a little bit. I'm not saying all white women are like this.
Mentally ill.
It's demonstrably true that any white woman could do this. At least a few of them have. We saw 53% of them do it. That's the percentage of women who voted for Donald Trump. So now, hang on. Let me just get this, because I'm sure he ends with a fucking banger as well. Here it is. Yeah, he ends with this banger. Keep in mind, you can't be racist towards white people. This person is saying that white women are inherently evil, will accuse black men of rape, will secretly vote for Donald Trump, just use black men, blah, 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 blah. Right? I do not hate serpents or pit bulls. I am afraid of them. In fact, I'm only afraid of poisonous snakes and pit bulls that bite. Unfortunately, I can't tell which ones are harmless and which ones will kill me. So just to be safe, ... In other words, just to be safe, I avoid them all. This is the argument racists use for racial segregation. They point to black crime statistics and they say, well, look at those. I mean, I don't want to be afraid. But if I can't tell which ones are harmless and which ones aren't, better stay away from them all. And you go, fucking hell, dude, that's no way to live your life. Judge people as you find them, you fucking mad cunt. You mad racist cunt. No one's saying that for this guy. Because he's saying it about white people, so it's all right, I suppose. It's literally okay to say all white women are potentially evil, so he avoids them all. No problems. No one gives a fuck. No one's saying anything. Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
No problem.
All white women will watch your child be thrown into a river. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Problem. Now hang on. If I remember this, hang on. Let me see if I can find it, because I also did see an article around about the same time, which basically said if you didn't want to have sex with black people.
Yeah, you're racist. That's all.
No, but there's another one, not the one we covered. There was another one that's out. I mean, you can just trust me on that. So how does that work? How does a black person get to say, I wouldn't fuck with no white women, they're evil, they're like snakes with tits and that? How can they? There's contradictions in this argument, Sam. But it's all right though, because remember, right, that there's absolutely not endemic problem of racism inherent to Black Lives Matter. There's definitely not. I always get a little bit nervous when I talk about Black Lives Matter, because if you ever showed me evidence that police had engaged in a racist killing, and I'm pretty sure there's been multiple examples. I grew up during the time of the fucking Rodney King beating. I don't give a fuck. I hear fucking apologists for that beating, and it fucking disgusts me to the core of my being. I remember that footage of Rodney King being beaten by however many fucking police officers and saying, oh, he was high, so he was super strong. Like, you're just beating a fucking guy with a truncheon. I don't give a fuck about his past rap sheet or anything, by the way. That was disgraceful. And while fucking LA burnt to the ground and fucking Reginald Denny, that truck driver, took a fucking pound into the head because he made the fucking mistake of stopping for rioters who just pulled him out of his truck. He was like, across you go. Nah, they're coming for you, brother. All of that happens. Right? We get The Predator as the soundtrack by Ice Cube. It's inexcusable. And if you ever fucking show me an example of that, I'll support fucking those cops going away for life. I don't get, you know what I mean? But the central premise of the Black Lives Matter movement is that there's some sort of systemic fucking evil group of people who just want to kill black people, and somehow they've all got uniforms, and somehow we're all complicit with that. I don't want a black person to get killed wrongly by the police, and I don't want a white person to get killed wrongly by the police. I don't want an Asian person to get killed wrongly by the police. I don't want anybody. This is why I don't understand why, if you say all lives matter, you are racist. I do not get that argument. I do not buy that. I do not believe that. But it's okay, because surely the mainstream media will pick up on the fact that the Black Lives Matter co-founder has problems and is obviously a racist themselves. Well, no, of course not. And you can see here, this is in City News. Black Lives Matter And this is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, Yersa Kogali, who it turns out had been posting crazy shit. Like they asked Allah for strength to not cuss or kill men and white folks. Reasonable, right? You know, it's hard for me to kind of get on board with what you're doing. Like, I don't want to put on my BLM t-shirt right now because you're telling me that as a white male, you would like to kill me. I don't know if I want to. You know, I don't know if I want to go out and march on your behalf. It's all right, though. Surely that's just one person going off the rails. Then you look at the rhetoric of other chapters. This taking. This is actually it. Shit, this is actually it. This is where it was. Fuck, put this to one side. This is what it was. Just check this out. This is from BLM. Why does BLM have a stance on whether you should or shouldn't be having sex with black people? There's bigger fish to fry. You said there's bigger fish to fry. So here it is. This is what I wanted to say earlier. Look at this. This is from Black Lives Matter Austin. If you are black and you think a black person is ugly, that is an example of anti-blackness. What if they're ugly? What if they're just an ugly black person? They exist, obviously. Obviously, there's ugly black people out there. There's ugly white people. There's just ugly people in there. It's almost in a way that ugly people are kind of their own group. If you are black and you think whites are more attractive than blacks, that is an example of anti-blackness. If you are black and you claim you are all for the liberation of your black brothers, but you have never had an intimate relationship with a black person, that is an example of anti-blackness. And last, please don't try to be slick or politically correct with colorism. A new thing, I guess. So, wait. If you're black and you want to liberate black people and you're in BLM and you're black, but you have only had relationships with white women, you're anti-black.
Mind blow.
I can't. I just can't anymore. You're in BLM, you're black, but because you've only dated white women, you actually hate blacks. Game changer, right? Oh, Lord, mate, Lord. So there you go. Racism is all over the fucking place these days. It's almost as if you continually throw a definition out there that don't make no sense, that's what's going to happen. Right. What about Nazis? Oh, is that happening with Nazis, is it? Oh, is everyone a Nazi these days? Turns out, yeah, they are. They're Nazis, right? So there's this fucking journalist, yeah, one of these verified liberal journalists. Apparently he's won awards. I don't know what for. Doesn't look to be fucking personal hygiene. And he had a fucking pop at Dave Rubin today. Hang on, I'll give you the right tweet. That's the wrong one. I did put these chronologically. So Dave Rubin, I like Dave Rubin. For those who don't know, I think Dave Rubin is a pretty square guy. And he's interviewed some very interesting people, and he's like a centrist, slightly left of center, you know, because he's Jewish, he's gay, he's, you know, somebody that for me is pretty much what would be liberal if liberals hadn't gone fucking mad, you know, like he would be pretty left. So he's interviewed a bunch of people. And he has interesting subjects, and most recently he waded in on the Lauren Southern Patreon issue. Now, I've talked to you about this off the show. I'll just quickly say this on the show. I don't really think there's any defense really for Lauren Southern, and it's a shame because I know her and I like her, but I can't get worked up about what everyone else is. I think it's all a bit stupid, honestly. Forget the obvious point that Patreon is its own private company, and every private company we interact with, whether we like it or not now, enforces their moral code of ethics, their political ethics, and they don't do it even-handedly. We know this. We know Reddit do this. We know Twitter do this. We know Facebook do this. We know every company, fucking even Uber do this now, you know? It's just how it is, right? So just forget that. Put that to one side, right? Lauren Southern was trying to say she was like being a journalist and therefore completely independent of that whole stopping the migrant boats thing. And my understanding as well is, like, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've always understood it. In international law, if somebody's adrift at sea,
you have to save them.
You do have to save them legally, right?
You have to, by law, you have to save someone in the sea.
Right, okay. So I always thought that was the case anyway. And look, it's fucked up that people are coming from countries on boats, risking their lives to get to another country, and then just being another country's problem. And, they're not much better off. It's like, where do you even start dissecting where all of this, all the wrongness in this problem? What's making them want to leave? Do they have to leave? Why are they putting their lives in danger? Why are so many people dying? Should we be stopping them at sea? But what if that increases the risk of them dying? What about the right to life? And then they get on the shores, and then it's like, okay, well, now they're a burden on the new place that they're in. But also, it's not like they have a great quality of life themselves. They're on the streets. They've got no work. They don't speak the language. I mean, there's so many layers to this, right? It's fucked up. But anyway, so Lauren Southern was supporting this thing where you get a boat and you stop the other boats dropping refugees off. But the whole idea was she was going to be a journalist that just reported on this. But it didn't look like she was doing impartial reporting. David Simon, when he spent a year with the Baltimore Homicide Division, he said that the tipping point for him when he realized he had to stop the assignment was when the police were so comfortable with him, he actually detained a suspect physically to help them out and stop him getting away. And he said, I've crossed the line there. I've crossed the threshold. I have to stop doing this now. And he went back and he got his notes and he wrote one of the best works in modern journalism that led to one of the best works in modern television. Right? Now, that to me is a man who understands the craft of journalism, and you can't be an activist. And I say this about progressives all the time. Once you say activist, fuck off. You aren't a journalist anymore. You gotta be impartial. Sure, pick and choose your stories, but you cannot bring your activism to your work. You can't do that. You got to be objective. You got to look for the facts. You got to not fit the narrative that your activism dictates. And unfortunately, I've got to say the same for Lauren, because I've got to be logically consistent. And I saw the video of Lauren telling the boat driver where to go. And I saw the video of Lauren prior to that talking about what a great cause it was and how she was happy to be involved. And she spoke positively and glowing about it and raised awareness for it and might even have raised money for it. And unfortunately, if Patreon say that's bad, then yeah, that's that. But this idea that you were just a journalist along for the ride doesn't wash. It doesn't fit any of the evidence. But the good thing about Dave Rubin is Dave Rubin had like Lauren Southern, talked to Lauren Southern. He always gives these people a platform. He also talked to the CEO of Patreon, which was a great interview for him to get. And that's Dave Rubin's MO. Now a journalist, right? Dan Arel, award-winning journalist, put his tweet out saying Lauren Southern tried to actively kill refugees, and Rubin report, that's Dave Rubin, is trying to get her Patreon reinstated. He's Nazi fucking trash. Okay, there's a lot of problems with this. I'll just point you to one thing before we get to the problems. What does it say in his bio? He's an activist. Wouldn't you know? If I was an award-winning journalist, which indeed I am, there's an award right there. Might not be as glittering as a Pulitzer or whatever, but fuck knows I sweated for it for over a decade. I might want to put that in. That might be the thing I'm most proud of. I wouldn't. I'm an activist first and an award-winning journalist second on the weekends. Fuck off, mate. So anyway, here's the problems with labeling Dave Rubin a Nazi, other than it's patently not true. Okay? It's patently not true. This is Dave Rubin. Okay? Dave Rubin is Jewish. Okay? Understand that when you call a Jewish person. Yeah, understand when you call a Jewish person a Nazi, what you're doing. Understand how that is like so unbelievably offensive on so many levels, and the left does it repeatedly because the word Nazi has just lost all meaning to them. It's just a catch-all term for people they don't like or disagree with them or whatever it is. So look, one, this is Dave Rubin's response. I grew up around Holocaust survivors. 2, Nazis tried to exterminate the Jews. That's true, Sam. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
3, I'm Jewish. 4, you are mentally ill. Get help. And that was when I knew Dave Rubin watched our show. And I hope you watch this, Dave.
T-shirt, man.
Yeah, you'll see celebrity photo with Dave Rubin. So yes, you are behaving mentally ill. Now, at this point, right, when you label a Jewish man who grew up around Holocaust survivors a Nazi, that is the group that tried to exterminate the Jews, what would you do? Would you sit down and go, you know what, I shouldn't have used that word, right? Like, it's not accurate. What I meant was, he's anti-immigrant or whatever, he's a nationalist, whatever it is, right? Just dial it back a little bit. Nah, this cunt, this award-winning cunt, right? He decides that he's just going to make his tweets protected, the usual cowardly behavior that you see from all these progressives, right? Oh, I've said something and been caught out in it. I will make my tweets protected and cite harassment, and then I will just, I'm over here and you can't see what I'm saying. Can't hold me accountable for these lies, right? That's what they all do. But do you know what he had the nerve to fucking say? It's mental, mate. He has the... Okay, here it is. He said he made his tweets protected, right? Not because he looks a fucking fool. Not because anybody who employs him should probably have a word and say, don't go calling Jews Nazis. Don't do that. Just don't do that, right? But he says, go in private for the time being. Will unlock when the Frog Brigade move along. It's the Pepe Nazis! The Froggy Nazis! What world does that cunt live in? He's a political writer, by the way. He's meant to be switched on. He's meant to be clued up. This cunt don't know what fucking time it is, mate. The Nazi Frog Brigade! The Jews sent the Nazi Frog Brigade. Is he listening to himself? That is an award-winning political journalist in modern times. That's what we've got. Okay, quick little laugh at the Emoji Movie. Right, Emoji Movie is fucking dog shit, by the way. It's one of the worst films ever made.
Who would have seen that coming?
Who knew? Let me just link you to this. Right. Who knew that trying to insert social justice into a kids' film and then casting mentally ill social justice warriors in lead roles, who knew that would backfire spectacularly? Who knew that would lead to a shitty product? That's TJ Miller. Yes, TJ Miller, the man who attacked a fucking Uber driver because he voted for Donald Trump, a man who probably got kicked off the show and then said of all of his fucking, that Silicon Valley he was on, and then said of all of his fucking co-workers, you didn't do enough to stop Trump. This guy's mentally fucking ill. And he stars in a movie talking about, this is going to be so good for like social justice and all that, right? And it's fucking garbage. Here's the Rotten Tomatoes. See it for yourself. It's awful. It's one of the worst films ever. It's one of the worst films ever. This is your social justice. I was going to go watch it, Sam, but because you're not here, I kind of feel like I can't do it without you. Maybe when you finally get out here and we get the studio set up, we should do like a reaction viewing.
Yeah, probably be out on DVD by then, mate. I'm sure it won't be long.
Oh, mate, it's going to be out on DVD next fucking week. Let's be real about it. This will be in fucking bins around every service station. But the thing is, it's made money, you know. That's the worst part about it. And I think 90% of the cunts in those cinemas must be rubbernecking. Like, how bad is this? You know, fucking hell. Same reason people went to go and see Ghostbusters, right? It's almost as if when you try and put social justice in art, it just doesn't work. It's almost as if art should be an area where you have complete freedom of expression and not mad rules. But anyway, just before we get into TJ Miller and his mentally ill nonsense, let's have a look at what the reviewers have been saying. So here we go. I'll read you some quotes from some of the reviews that this film has received. You can just bring up images while I'm talking if you want, Sam. Do what you go nuts. Be creative. It'll be better than the Emoji Movie. Please restore my eyes to the factory setting. Says Johnny Aleksinski of the New York Post. This thing is a piece of app. Not bad. And Alensky goes on to suggest that where similar product films like the Lego Movie have succeeded, this release is simply soulless branding. And he says that he is convinced the Emoji Movie is the beginning of the apocalypse. The Guardian, who love a bit of social justice, Charles Bramesco, said the Emoji Movie is a force of insidious evil. A film that feels as if it was dashed off by an uninspired advertising executive. A viewer leaves the Emoji Movie a colder person, not only angry at the film for being unconscionably bad, but resentful for it making them feel angry. All right. Peter Subzinski, Roger Ebert, the late RogerEbert.com, described it as a work so completely devoid of wit, style, intelligence, or basic entertainment value that it makes the movie based on the Angry Birds game seem like pure artistic entertainment. Okay, he then says that we are essentially placed into a series of mini ads for well-known apps that range from brief detours to the lands of Facebook and YouTube to extended commercials for the Candy Crush and Just Dance games. He writes, Roger Moore, not that one, he's dead. He's
long gone.
Over at Movie Nation, right? Said this. Yeah, TJ Miller, quite a good TV gig, but now he's a leading man in never mind. The strained overview of web memes, hashtags, kitten videos, and bye Felicia isn't worth the 86 minutes the movie sucks out of your cell plan, your battery, or your life. John DeFore at The Hollywood Reporter. These keep coming, guys. John DeFore, The Hollywood Reporter, said, if only this smartphone-centric dud, so happy to hawk real-world apps to its audience, could have done the same in its release strategy, coming out via Snapchat, where it would vanish shortly after arrival. See, he uses Snapchat. He knows what's up. But even that wouldn't be fast enough. He then goes on to say that the screenplay's attempt at understanding how kids talk is terrible and says, why is Sir Patrick Stewart in this? It is a career low appearance because he stars as the resident poop icon. So this film is fucking AIDS. Like, it's so AIDS, dude. Like, why is this a thing? Like, it's you know, AIDS is bad, right? AIDS is definitely worse than this movie, but
just...
it's close by all accounts, right? So nice bit of TJ Miller on the screen. Just saw that now, right? So here's the thing, right? This movie has been fucking panned. It is garbage. It is absolute garbage. It's like the stuff they put in them skunk bombs, right? So TJ Miller, yeah. Just do what everyone does when they're in a stinker. You either own it and you own that it's bad. Like, this is what I love about Michael Caine. Michael Caine starred in, I think it was Jaws 4. Or it might have been Jaws 3D. But I think it was Jaws 4. Jaws the Revenge, right? Yeah, Jaws 4. Anyway, it's garbage. It's terrible. And whenever he was asked about it, he says, yeah, the film was shit, but the house it built wasn't. And that house was for his mum. You know, that's how you own starring in garbage, devoid of any artistic merit. Sometimes you just got to pay the fucking bills. Michael Caine, absolute balling out of control living legend. Love that fucker, right? What's TJ Miller got to say, do you think, about starring in this absolute garbage? I'd just keep my head down, me, or I'd be a little bit like, heh, you know what I mean? Like, I made lots of money for doing that piece of shit. Like, just move on with my life. Sometimes you do shit, right? Nah, not TJ Miller. Check this out. Antagonistic, proud to star in this fucking garbage. Haters, be aware and beware. We are tomato proof. And he links to an article, right? Like, universal bad reviews. And he links to this fucking article. And it talks about how much money it made. And this should break your heart if you love films. It should make you want to curl up and die. Because this has never happened before with a film, Sam, where it made $24.5 million domestically in a weekend, despite getting exclusively negative reviews. That's never been done before. It's broke cinematic history for all the wrong reasons.
We don't know how this piece of shit has cash.
Yeah. People are going to see it, and nobody knows why. But they're just throwing money at this fucking thing, and he's going, ha, suck it up, haters. What? You've already been paid, by the way. Imagine it if you negotiated a percentage. Oh, no. Oh, I feel sick, Sam.
He's getting a bit of that back end.
Oh. But yeah, I mean, TJ Miller, man, like, just an example of why you should just stay away from social justice. Just devoid of any creativity, any artistic fucking ability. Just proud that he starred in something so awful, shilling for a piece of shit. Look at this, haters. Like, fuck off, mate. You're forever off the artistic roll call, you know what I mean? All right. We'll wrap it up, shall we?
Yay.
Because I know we've covered a lot, and once again, the show's gone on a bit too long, and it's probably about 5 a.m. where you live.
3.
3, right, okay. So I just want to bring one bit of serious news to everyone's attention, because a lot of people go, oh, Richard, you do go Alex Jones on your show from time to time. One thing I've repeatedly said on this show is that eventually all of these social media outlets, all of the media outlets, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Reddits, they're all going to gang up like some fucking League of Evil. They're going to think it's the Justice League, the Social Justice League. They're going to think they're the good guys, right? And that's very often what happens with mad totalitarian groups, isn't it? Hitler thought he was a good guy, even at the point he ate a fucking bullet in that bunker. He went out thinking, you know what?
I never knew how great I was.
You know what? I was right. Like, he never had a moment of self-awareness, right? Like, he never knew he was a cunt. Hitler never knew he was a cunt from start to finish. You know? So it is with many totalitarian leaders. Yeah, brilliantly summed up by the Mitchell and Webb sketch course, the two Nazis. Are we the baddies? Why have we got a skull for a logo? You know, it's so funny, that fucking sketch, because it is, you know, you can't imagine how people could get so wrapped up in their own bullshit that they could do something fucking bad and not be able to see how bad it is. But this is the power of delusion, right? So all of these groups are getting together now. It's happening. They've had a meeting, right? And why would they be getting together? I am telling you that in the future, in the not too distant future, if you get deplatformed by one of them, if you get banned from Twitter, it's going to follow. If you get banned from Reddit, well, we can't have your content on there because you are bad, you are hateful. You can't put videos on YouTube because you're bad and hateful. You can't have a Facebook page because you're bad and hateful. You can't have. Right? They're going to get together and they're going to share a list, and they're going to keep you all off it. I'm telling you, this is coming. Just remember, you heard it here. Right? And I did a video on it the other day. Of course, nobody watches these things. YouTube did the announcement, changed the rules, that now they can just, it doesn't even matter if it breaks terms of service anymore. They can shut down your video, just turn your video off if it doesn't break the terms of service expressly on YouTube. If somebody somewhere thinks it's hateful. And do you know who's picking what's hateful and what isn't? It's the ADL, who say Pepe's a hate symbol. And fucking Gavin McInnes is a Nazi. These people. What do you think comes next? So be afraid. Be very afraid when you hear about this. This is reported over on Verdict. This was tech companies and government. Tech companies and governments had a meeting, right? And they said they want to tackle extremism. And as I saw from the YouTube announcement just the other day, their idea of tackling extremism, they don't talk about terrorism, they don't talk about ISIS, they don't talk about jihad. They mysteriously talk about hate speech a lot. Weird that, because terrorism isn't speech. Recruitment, sure. Propaganda, sure. But the thing you should be really afraid of is the bombs and the guns and the beheading and the killings and the actual terror, not the words. Right? But here's what happened. All of these companies, all of these big companies, Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of these people went and they had a meeting to discuss how they're going to tackle all of this stuff. It was called the Global Internet Forum on Counterterrorism. It happened in San Francisco. Where else? Where else would it happen? And like I say, they were all there. Microsoft was there as well. And they said, right, that it was all about, quote, stopping the spread of terrorism and violent extremism, which is a pressing global problem and a critical challenge for us all. And we believe that if we work together, that's all of these companies working together, we believe that by working together, sharing the best technological and operational elements of our individual efforts, we can have a greater impact on the threat of terrorist, right? Wink, wink. Terrorist content online. And it's happening. They're starting to use artificial intelligence. You saw the hilarious story recently. Facebook had to shut down their own AI after it invented its own language and started talking to itself, and Facebook didn't know what it was planning. That happened.
It could be taking over the world. Shut it down.
And its name was Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg just recently hired a leading Clinton pollster, by the way. Definitely going to make a run for 2020 or maybe 2024.
I don't think anyone's going to vote for that rat, though, surely. I don't see what... He hasn't got the
Democrats' wet dream, mate.
Why, though?
You know why, though. And plus, with all of the secret testing they've done on Facebook, secret psychological testing, which you can also Google, like exposing depressed people to certain things to check their mood and reaction to it, which apparently you've agreed to by having a Facebook page. It's in the terms of service that they can experiment with your mind without you knowing about it. Obviously, he's going to be able to understand what the average voter wants, even though, to me, he looks like some sort of smooth-skinned alien who just, again, he's the real Martian, isn't he, from the Twilight Zone.
He looks
what is wet? I don't know.
What's the beta alien from Futurama called again? Kip.
Oh, Kip.
Yeah, Kif. He looks like Kif.
Be my smizma, Amy. Yeah, that guy. Right. So here you go. And this is what they're discussing. They're discussing ways that they can remove content faster. How can we get it out there? How can we shut it down? Right? How can we do that? They say AI is the solution, but they're looking at other ways to do it. And indeed, I imagine they're going to share the AI. Ooh, one AI algorithm to rule them all. 2, governments have been complaining about encryption. We all know that. They say, oh, your encryption keeping your data safe. It's become, quote, a secret place for terrorists to communicate with each other. Remember all that brouhaha over Apple refusing to tell them the back door to crack an iPhone for a terrorist? Man who sent a Strobing GIF, of course. Rat him the fuck out. Then they also talk about, ISIS propaganda tools, right? And they want to bring more companies into the fold. How interesting. Expansion now. They want to bring all these little tech startups into the fold. Hey, come and work with us. Come and work with us. Why are you doing that? Is it because you want to really combat ISIS recruitment? Really? That's why you want Just Paste It. That's why you want Archive.is. That's why you want companies like this to come and be under our umbrella. Is that what you really want? Yeah? All right, good, because that'll be ISIS, won't it? But wouldn't it also mean there were no alternatives to sharing information? Wouldn't it also mean that? Well, yes, I suppose. But I mean, the marketplace dictates there will always be an alternative. This is something to be really fucking afraid of. I am telling you guys, this is the first step towards that reality. This is absolutely exactly what they're doing. They're saying it's terrorism. We all know it's not terrorism. We know what they're really upset about as anything that deviates from the political narrative. Would any of this be happening if Donald Trump hadn't got elected? Let's be fucking real. You have got to think about these things and make some decisions about what you do next. You're going to need alternatives. We're all going to need to start getting fucking encrypted emails that are legally protected. It's getting absurd now. And if you're somebody like me, which I don't represent a lot of you guys, but again, imagine being like a Paul Joseph Watson, like just completely frozen out. This is what's going to happen. YouTube are going to do a test case very soon. I thought it might have been Jordan Peterson. That's being passed off as a bit, just an innocent mistake, a gremlin in the system. But mark my words, there will be a sizable YouTuber, somebody who is surprisingly conservative in their belief system or right-wing in their belief system, and their channel will be shut down, and there'll be no explanation offered as to why beyond the fact that they had violated some nebulous policy, and then YouTube will stick to their guns, and they're going to watch, and they're going to watch where they go next. Is it going to be VidMe? How much does it hurt our business model? How much does it hurt our bottom line? How many people do we lose? Does traffic go down? How much of a problem is this? Do advertisers come back as a result of us doing this? The test case is coming. And then once that happens, they're going to watch where that individual goes, and they're going to see who sucks them up and lets them produce more content. And then they're going to fucking either absorb those companies, or they're going to work actively against those companies, and then they're going to announce their pact. What we've noticed is people who are evil slither through the cracks and get to say their evil things elsewhere. And that is why we announce our glorious partnership today. The League of Social Justice, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Microsoft, you fucking name it. You cannot talk anywhere. You cannot say your wrong thing anywhere. The Ministry of fucking Truth is coming, guys. It's happening. It's real. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't nonsense. It starts with meetings like this that look really innocuous and talk about doing something that keeps you safe, and it ends with fucking censorship. Always. History should teach you that. Right. So, Sam, that was a bit serious. Okay. So I want to close out the show with something. Right. Kurt Eichenwald's latest song, mate.
All right, yeah. Fucking hell, you only just remembered that. I'm gonna have to find it now.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be easy to find, mate.
It should be like.
One of the things me and Sam like to do is we like to trawl through the internet and try and find crazy YouTube channels and that sort of thing. And we found one, and basically this guy is a rapper. And he wrote a song that we think perfectly fits Kurt Eichenwald. You'll remember Kurt Eichenwald. He's the one with all these mysterious financial transactions to known child pornographers that he claims were part of a journalistic story. And also he's the guy with a proclivity for tentacle porn. Well, anyway, this song by, what's the name of the YouTuber?
Dave OG Miles. Do you want to
By Dave OG Miles. Yeah, I guess we could play this together. This song by Dave OG Miles. You can hit me with a 3, 2, 1 whenever you're ready. Right. Dave OG Miles claims to be an OG who does hip hop. And he did a song that we think perhaps Kurt Eichenwald could perhaps sing himself, or perhaps he could adopt the name MC Eichenwald. And we're going to leave you with this song called I'm Not a Nonce, You Got No Evidence.
3, 2, 1, go.
You don't know nothing. And you got no evidence to prove you back or back you up about against your allegations about me. Cause I'll tell you now, I'm not a fucking Nazi.
Alright, Kurt, calm
down. No evidence. You can't just go around calling people that. Because you got no fucking evidence to back yourself up. No, I'm not fucking nuts. Don't go spreading things about me. Don't spread rumors. Don't fucking spread rumors, haters. You got no fucking evidence, see. Oh no, I'm not a fucking Nazi. You got no fucking evidence, see.
Nonsense.
We call that slander. That's cool, called slander. I'm not a fucking Nazi. I'm fucking Dave OG, and I speak to anybody, any age.
What?
Right.
Just say
Let's whip it back.
hi. How are you doing? Day to day, just be a friend anyway. No, I'm not fucking nuts. I don't get fucking call me that. No, don't fucking call me that. I'm not fucking nuts. No fucking evidence. You got no evidence. You got nothing to back the fucking allegation up. No, I never got caught. Never got caught by Stinson Hunter. No, I never got caught.
Throw the Stinson Hunter in there.
By Stinson Hunter. I was set up.
You were set up.
Everybody knew it. It was on the fucking Facebook page. I got set up and the girl was 18. She was fucking. She was fucking at age. 18. The girl was named. She was Madeline Turner. I'm not a fucking nonce.
Why is he just dropping names?
Don't fucking spread that shit. You know you get done. In this day and age, we call that slang. We call that slander. Yeah, man, we call that slander. If someone isn't a nuts, and you call them, if you call them a fucking pedo, and then they're not a pedo, and you've got no fucking evidence to back your shit up, so pack the shit up.
So there you go, right? Now, what I took from the song, Sam, is that he's not a nonce, right?
You've got no evidence.
There's no evidence that he is a nonce. So there is that. But anyway, you should just... Hang on, sorry. I just let it run on.
Background.
Yeah. He just spammed me out. I was like, Sam, you've got mental. Anyway, you should check out his channel because he's got some fucking banging videos on there, hasn't he, Sam? There's some other ones. I mean, it is hard to top the I'm not a nonce. You've got no evidence, but he does reviews of things. You'll see a month ago he said review of my new air conditioning unit. That's really good. That's a banger. He does this version of Lady in Red, where he does the actions. Oh mate, bring up that thumbnail by the way. I'm on Twitter. He puts a lot of effort into his videos. He's like us. He don't bother with them with those thumbnails, those contrived thumbnails. Dave OG keeps it real. You can see how he likes to rock his thumbnails for his videos. And
my personal favourite of the videos is the one entitled "I'm So Lonely."
Yeah, that's raw. That one, no, that's raw. What's the one about fish and chips he did as well? You got a banger there, honey.
Probably.
I like. So one of my personal favourites as well is I've just came out of Poundland and Asda. That's a banger. So anyway, go show this guy some love because he's been making videos. He's been on that fucking grind for a while, and he straight deserves some attention. You know what I mean? So there you go. So that's how we're ending the show. MC Eichenwald, aka Dave OG. So yeah, I think we'll just end the show there. It's this show's garbage, man. I say it all the time. It's just nonsense. It's just like I spend my time ranting about people who've got voices in their head, and then this show is just the voices in my head, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. You know all that stuff. YouTuber and subscribing, yeah, blah blah blah. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the people who bought merch. Thanks to the people who donated and all that. We'll see you on the next Richard Liver Show. Take care.
You got no evidence. Back you up against your allegations about me. Because I'll tell you now, I'm not a fucking Nazi. I'm not a nonce. No, I'm not a nonce. You got no evidence. No evidence.